All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. And somehow it's already that time. It is season finale here at the Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Series. And what better way to cap it off than 100 laps here tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Drivers putting down their qualifying laps as we speak. However, say definitely a warm one here tonight. Track temperature 118 degrees, 74 degrees ambient. So I think these drivers are going to be slipping and sliding a little bit. And I'm not going to say it's locked up, but definitely some pretty good buffer zone for Nick DeGroot there in that 89 machine. Trying to lock up that championship tonight. Craig Forsyth in second, 49 out of the lead. Scott Rankin in third, 53 out of the lead. And then you see fourth on back there, say it's Matt Wagner, but again, more than a race margin between them. Have seen at least a 61 point swing, 61 points for a race winner, max points. So the difference is potentially doable. Just depends on what Nick DeGroot has. So I think if he just plays it safe and kind of just minds his P's and Q's, probably good to go to get that title here this evening. But yeah, so Boomer, it's going to be a lot of fun to see. And somehow we're 12 races in, and I say we'll have a short off season. These guys are going to get ready and get it all done once again. But I say a few drivers are going to be definitely just looking at tonight because, I mean, one, of course, championship, and two, I mean, it's Indy, and that's what a lot of these guys are going to be focused on tonight.
Yeah, definitely, Guy. I'm definitely excited to be here for the final race of the season. Definitely a pretty big deal. Pretty much every sporting series other than NASCAR and IndyCar have their biggest events be the last event of the season, where obviously IndyCar, the biggest event in Indianapolis, being quite early on in the season, and then NASCAR obviously starting with the Daytona 500. So it's really cool that we've got an opportunity here to actually have what could be considered the biggest race of the year at one of the most hallowed grounds in racing, to be the last and final event. So yeah, like you said, definitely looking to see Nick DeGroot pad a comfortable lead here tonight. He should be a shoe-in for the championship, but you can't say it's over until it's actually over. So we are definitely going to be keeping an eye on Craig Forsyth and Scott Rankin as they look to battle it out for second place, if not maybe the win if something crazy comes through.
Yeah, saying crazier things have happened, but it looks like qualifying just completing, and saying we'll bring up the starting grid and I think it goes to show that he's not just going to try to back into it, because it's going to be that number 89 of Nick DeGroot on pole position here tonight. In that number 89 over Andrew Wood there, 1600s on back, and then you've got Alec Coates, Eric Peterson, Charles Teed, our top 5, and then Matt Wagner, AJ Hopson, Yari Brubacher, Scott Rankin, Jeff Heisong, top 10. And then continuing down the running order, you've got Jim Brooks there, Brad Ringer in 12th. Continue down the running order. In 13th, Gary Corley, Jim Herrick, Jack Walls, Justin Carey, Craig Forsyth, Joseph Morales, Thaddeus McMurray, Michael Spell, Joseph DeCiro, and Benjamin Combs will be our 22 starters this evening. So a pretty solid field here tonight as well. Indy always an easy one, I feel like, to bring the drivers on out. And again, 100 laps here tonight though, Boomer. Hearing fuel window probably in the low 20s. And that sounds like maybe even with traffic. So I think if these guys are going to go full aggression, and I say again, Indy with the long straightaways here, this is kind of the premier leapfrog track, if you will. Try to keep the pace up. We might even see drivers have to pit in the high teens, 19, maybe 20 laps here. So it's gonna be fun to see what the strategy is going to be for these guys. Save some fuel or go full send. Of course, a lot of toys to be played with these drivers, with those the fuel maps, and all those, the front rear ARBs. Was hearing during practice, definitely a bit of a handful here tonight, having to make some big adjustments in clean air versus dirty air. So I think that's something we're going to really need to be watching for.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of guys in this league that are definitely good at making adjustments with weight jackers and fuel maps and so what, even changing weight jacker settings through the middle of the corners for different ends of the speedway. So it'll definitely be interesting. They'll definitely have to be on their toes. There's a lot of laps at quite a big track, as you say, and definitely a big chance for the toe, and a lot of aerodynamic games, as you'll definitely see everyone diving in and out to down the back stretch and the front stretch to try and break that draft. So it'll definitely be a fun one tonight as we get rolling with the pace car.
Yes, everybody's rolling out. Looks like 21 drivers have gridded here. Looks like the 22nd car, Benjamin Combs, did not grid here, so we'll see if the 77 hops on track or not. But right now, it looks like actually 21 to be taking part tonight. As he says, these guys come out of come into turn number 1 for that warm-up lap, and then we'll get things going here. So again, say 100 laps to race distance, no green white checkers, 1 faster pair. So basically these guys, I think, so basically the big number I think is going to be around lap number 80. That's going to be about the magic number for when you can make it to the end on fuel. So I think some of these guys might consider working a little bit backwards here, try to figure out those fuel numbers and kind of do that road course magic, because this is a track that even here at Indy, as fast as this track is, if you're towards the front of the field, you can pit without losing a lap. So it really does open up some strategies. But I think to do so, you're going to want to have a friend, because, again, we've seen the draft is able to make a lot of time if you kind of, again, do that little slingshot approach.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to want to try and come out of the pits if you can with someone else, and either do the leapfrog game or just stay in line and try to push each other forward. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Definitely opportunities to pit off cycle and try to make stuff happen. And obviously the yellows are probably going to throw everything into whack, but got to stay on your toes, and definitely going to be looking for that magic number of 20 laps or 19 laps to go to make sure you top off, get all the fuel you need, and then just focus on trying to win this race.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun to see who's going to have the right strategy. If it's fuel mileage, is it tire strategy, or is it just outright pace? So you can see pace car's just about to head to that pit entry. And it's going to make the sharp left, which is going to hand things over to our starter. That front row again, Nick DeGroot, Andrew Wood. They got to wait this long front straightaway here for that green flag to fly before we kick things off as they head down this long straight. And there's the green flag. We are down and away. See a few drivers' quick reaction there. And it's that bright yellow car, AJ Hopson, wasting no time to jump to the inside there, make it 3 wide, gain a couple of spots right off the bat.
Definitely hard to miss that car as it jumps to the inside. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet here on the restart, or the initial start, excuse me. But definitely look to see these guys probably be pretty quiet for the most part, at least I would think, as we settle in for what is a very, very long race.
Yeah, it looks like unfortunately the 10 of Joseph Desir had an issue on his initial start. It looks like the car's working okay, so he is back going here. However, lap number 1 is going to be a fight here between the 89 and 64, and it looks like Nick DeGroot will lead lap number 1. So, bonus point for the pole, bonus point for leading a lap. But like I said, he's not going to back into this thing. He's going to do what got him here this season. Looks like that aggression is not going to go away, but he's going to definitely have a fight on his hands with that 64 of Andrew Wood.
Yeah, definitely championship form so far for Nick DeGroot, but it's 1 lap, and we've got 99 more to go, but he's still definitely heavily favored for now.
Yeah, so you can see right now they've got a small margin, about a half a second over Alec Coates there, sitting in 3rd in that number 3 machine. But I'm going to watch now as we'll see, do we see the teamwork that we just talked about there, that leapfrog approach, and that's exactly what I think we're seeing here. The 64 makes the pass on the back stretch. Nick DeGroot returns the favor on the front stretch, and they'll basically just rinse and repeat here. They'll kind of recycle through the middle of 1 and 2, middle of 3 and 4, and then we'll see that 64 go back by again out of turn number 2 once he gets the momentum built up. So this is the way they're going to build speed here. If they don't do that, the rest of the field just completely packs up to them. Right now, Alec Coates here again, hop on board with him in that 3 car. He's going to catch these guys. But with them doing this leapfrog, let's say this opens up opportunities for this 3. Does he just sit and save fuel, or does he try to spoil the party with these top 2 up front?
Yeah, definitely the top 2 doing a really good job to kind of separate themselves and not pack up the field. So there's definitely a pretty decent-sized gap opening up, almost a second between Alex Coates and Eric Peterson in 4th. So we'll have to see if that separation continues to grow, or if Alex either falls back or stays with this 2-pack tandem in the front.
Yeah, and it has grown to that full second. So yeah, so that 3 has gotten to that 89 and 64 up front. And I did notice there in the back, though, AJ Hopson, I think he's knowing what those guys were doing, he's going to have to return the favor. And so we'll see if AJ and Eric here, do they work together and try to do that leapfrog approach as well to try to catch these top 2. Because he is going to get some pretty talented drivers here not too far back there. Matt Wagner in the 6, Yari Brubacher in the 49. Very stout drivers in their own right, but also, again, very wily drivers as well. Love to kind of play some strategy games and And, I mean, it could play a difference here. We'll see if any fuel mileage comes into play or not. Because again, if by chance, I'm skeptical, but if anybody could pull off maybe getting to 25 laps on a fuel tank here, Boomer, it could allow these guys to make one less pit stop should we stay under green flag conditions. I'm skeptical that it's doable, but these guys love to prove me wrong. So right now, these top two for sure, they're going to be going with the four pit stop approach, though, pitting 20, 40, 60, and 80. If things continue like they are, but we'll see, does anybody try to go that 25, 50, 75 approach. So strategies look like they might be unfolding here pretty early on.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see, and it's not a question of if you can do it, because I'm sure there's definitely ways to play with fuel maps, or even maybe getting as crazy as shutting the car off in the middle of the corner. But there's definitely ways to save an extreme amount of fuel, but the big question with that is going to be, can you do it and maintain pace? So definitely be interesting to see if anyone does try to push it, as it looks like we do have another straggler. It looks like Jim Brooks.
Oh, heavy right front damage to that 51. Let's go back and take a look, see if we can find out what happened to Jim here. And it looks like I said, we caught it just after it happened. Looks like he just caught the wall out of turn number 4 there. Drivers talked about it being tight, and he was, oh man, a hard hit there to the outside wall. Kept it pointed in the right direction, but that's going to be fast repair gone for the 51 here, as he just now makes the pit road and is going to go I think he's already I believe has gone a lap down already.
He may be going a lap down, I think, as they pass him on the front stretch here.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. So this would put him to 1 down. So say does give an opportunity though to be that lucky dog position. So we'll keep an eye on that. But right now up front though, Nick and Andrew can kind of continue to lead the way, control the field here. As right now we've got still the whole field within the lead pack right now. Joseph DeCiro, so he had to make an early pit stop for his fast repair as well. So right now the 51 and the 10 are definitely kind of on the outside looking in right now. But whole field within about 8 seconds of each other here still as we start lap number 9 at the line.
Yeah, hopefully the 51 and the 10 can get out and maybe draft together and maybe just stick there and maybe battle out for the lucky dog battle. But
yeah, and that's gonna be the strategy. Yeah, do you wait for that driver to kind of work together to try to help your overall speed, or do you not want to risk losing the lucky dog spot and catching that untimely caution? So say some strategy that possibly will come into play between the 51 and the 10. Right now they sit about 2.5 seconds apart. But the one advantage that Joseph DeCiro has, that car probably a little lighter on fuel than the 51 of Jim Brooks. So right now everybody's starting to kind of really string out single file. Really the most movement we're seeing here again is from these top two just doing that leapfrog. But I must say I really do like where Alec Coates is sitting here. He's just able to kind of tag onto the back of these guys and maybe even able to bump it down a little bit on the fuel mileage, save a little bit of fuel on that 3 machine. I don't think, again, probably not enough to make it on a 3-stop strategy, but definitely able to save more fuel in these top 2 for sure. So it allows him to go a little longer. And again, all pending things staying green, it could make that final pit stop just that little bit shorter.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I'd love to see if we can make this go green flag 100 laps. I know that's definitely not the easiest thing. Obviously, we've already seen a couple incidents so far that fortunately have been single car incidents, but kind of isolated. But definitely opportunities for calamity at a very, very fast racetrack.
Yeah, so the ones I'm kind of keeping an eye on still, though, is actually I'm going to jump a little bit here because you got Scott Rankin working on Charles Teed there. Move Scott now up into the 9th position here. But Charles Teed, to say he started up in the top 5, he's dropped back to 10th here. He's mentioned that he's been wanting to try to find the pace back in that car. But I wonder, is this a pace issue or is this a strategy ploy by that number 50? Like I said, these guys are pretty on top of the game when they know about the strategy calls here. So say as actually is a big bubble there at a 2, trying to keep low there behind Scott Rankin. As they say, I think Scott had a little bobble off too. But yeah, right now, let's say this is one of our closer battles on track here. We'll hop on board with that number 50 machine. I say the one thing I do wish we had here, Boomers, if we could steal a little bit of extra look at their cars to see what fuel maps they're running. But unfortunately, that's top secret info that iRacing doesn't give us. So unfortunately, we don't know what these guys are running here. But again, I suspect, though, there's going to be a handful of guys that are definitely probably working some fuel numbers here in those cars.
Yeah, definitely. Strategy is definitely going to be king, and who knows, if you can make the right calls at the right times, you can definitely be put in a good position to at least get the track position to try and go for the win. So definitely important to pay attention to.
Yeah, so right now things really have strung up pretty quickly. And again, I think part of this is related to the weather here. Again, 74 degrees ambient, but this track very weather sensitive, sunny out, 118 degrees. So these things are not going to be the grippiest right now. And I think that's why we're seeing the field as strung out as it is here. And again, I'm sure also a lot of drivers, again, kind of have their own little agendas in mind. But leaders right now, looking at lap times right now, top two running 41.20s, Alec Coates 41.11, chasing them down just a little bit again. It's just kind of keeping in touch with them. And then really the only two cars that are running on their own are Jim Brooks and Joseph DeCiro. Jim running 41.32, so about a tenth slower by himself. So it kind of shows again the power of that draft potentially from that leapfrog approach that these leaders are taking right now. But crazily enough here, at this point, the pace that these guys have, big loose there off of turn number 4 there. I think that was Gary Corley in the orange machine. So he had a close caller, but actually we got Justin Carey hitting pit road here a little early, I feel like here, Boomer. Say car looks to be in good shape. Can't see much. Can't tell that front wing's got a little damage or not. But it looks like an early pit stop to me, though, for this number 42.
Yeah, definitely would think that would be not scheduled, so interesting to see. Looks like he might have gotten into the wall in 1 and 2 going back a little bit, so yeah, potentially some damage there that he might want to try and make sure he gets repaired. So
yeah, let's go back, see if we can take a look to see what exactly happened to Justin. Like I said, it was coming out of turn 2, so let's back it up a little bit here.
Looked like between 1 and 2 the lap before he came into pit, so if that helps.
Yeah, see if we can hunt it down here. So we'll see if it was this one. Otherwise, we'll probably just jump back live. And close call there off 1 and 2 there. But that, like I said, that may have been before or after the damage was already done. So yeah, we'll jump back live because you can see that definitely that car was losing pace at that point. So what this does do here, though, is he comes out right in front of the leaders here, Boomer. So this is actually definitely want to keep an eye on this because with all of that happening. Lead change, I said while we were watching that, we actually had a change for lead. Alec Coates taking the point now as leaders going to try to work together here, it looks like, to try to sneak around that 42. And for Justin here, he's going to want to try to fight this because, again, he's right now on the tail end of the lead lap, kind of goes back and forth between tail end and being 1 lap down. So this is a risk versus reward for these leaders. Do they want to fight this guy or not? Almost they could use him, I feel like, maybe as a little bit of a pick, if you will. Just kind of tag onto the back of that guy, save fuel on him. Just try to help your own fuel mileage out here over the course of this first fuel run.
Yeah, that's be interesting to see here. I know he's going to want to try and probably fight as possibly as hard as he can just to maintain that lead as we see he pulls in front there they're coming back. Alex is side by side with him once again. So definitely going to be interesting to see how the leaders manage this and handle this because they could definitely kind of pack them back up if they aren't able to manage. They're not necessarily working together to leapfrog like we saw the 89 and the 64 were before. So who knows? Might start reeling in the second, third, fourth, fifth place guys on back to the leader.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to bring the fields closer together because they can't build the pace up like they had been earlier. One thing I have noticed is in all of this, Andrew Wood, the 4th car in line, he's actually had to fall back a fair bit. Wonder if he's just the same thing, the dirty air off these 3 in front of him, or if he's just trying to back down his fuel number, maybe try to gain 1 extra lap before he has to make that green flag pit stop because we're getting right to the thick of it here. Say we're on lap number 18 now. We talked about these guys probably around 19 and 20. And I do feel like the 89 and the 64 probably were getting the worst mileage just due to the fact that they were drafting that whole run. So we'll have to keep an eye. But what this has done is it's slowed down the pace up front. Remember talking about 41.20s earlier. They're up to 41.40s now. So just the way these guys are running here, dropping that pace down by about 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, definitely interesting for sure. It seems like the whole pack almost has slowed down just a little bit with this lap car out in front. But it looks like we've got a couple people hitting pit road here.
Yari Brupacher, the first one in. So it looks like Yari's going to try to go a little off strategy in that 49 machine, try to do the undercut, if you will, short pit before the rest of the leaders do. The only thing is that's going to force his fuel mileage out. He's going to have to try to make sure he can go at least 1 extra lap on his next run there as he slides his pit stall. Honestly, surprised he was able to make it in there. That thing's already at a 40 perfect angle to get out of the pits, but as you see, he drops the jack keys down and away. And we'll see, do we see any response from these guys up front, or are they still, looks like everybody's making pretty good fuel numbers here so far, Boomer. Right now, Yari actually the lone man out there hitting pit road at lap number 19 as we cross 20 now.
Yeah, definitely a little bit early, and we'll see. It doesn't look like anyone's going to take the bait for his strategy here for Yari. He's going to be pitting at least 2 laps out of cycle of everyone else.
So this will be interesting because, like you said, also, I mean, with the pace dropping off with a lot of the field, is this maybe a sign that these guys are trying to back it down to maybe pull that fuel number like we talked about, maybe try to go that 25 laps, get the 3 stop instead of the 4 stop, but maybe Yari feeling like, hey, these guys are going to have to back their pace down too much, as here comes, looks like 2 of them, Alec Coates and Nick DeGroot. They're both going to hit pit road here. And it looks...
That's not a strategy for some of our leaders because they were calling out pitting on the backstretch, but it looks like we've only got 3 on pit road, the 76, the 89, and was that Alex Coates?
Yeah, well? And the 3, yep.
Yep.
So the biggest surprise to me here is that Andrew Wood is able to go a further lap than Alec Coates. I really thought that Andrew would have been one of the first ones in, again, just the way him and Nick were doing that leapfrog approach. So I suspect we'll probably see the 64 in this time. But now, after this, though, this will be the big question mark, is when do we see the rest of these guys come out of pit road? As, yep, here comes Andrew. He's going to duck on in. That's going to hand it over to AJ Hopson. And it looks like Gary Corley's going to come in along with them, and a few more here. Jack Walls, and I believe that's Status McMurray, Michael Spell. So that's going to leave now 9 drivers yet to pit. But yeah, so now this is, again, I think this is going to be that race within a race, and I think some of these guys are going to want to just be kind of a nice cruise control here, just try to find any draft you can and save every drop of fuel to try to make it to that lap number 25 mark.
Yeah, definitely. So far, it looks like of the cars that have pitted, we've got Alex Coates, Jari Brupacher, and Nick DeGroot in a pack by themselves. So look to see if they continue on as the race leaders as all this cycles out. Looks like they're going to be just ahead of the 64 as the 64 is exiting pit road on the backstretch now. He'll join up with this group of 3, the leaders.
Yeah, so we had a busy pit road that lap there from AJ Hobson, Eric Peterson, Jeff Heisong, Charles Teed, Scott Rankin, and Joseph Morales all hitting pit road. That's going to push Matt Wagner to the lead here by about 2 seconds over Craig Forsyth, and then Craig's teammate Jim Herrick there in 3rd. And so, like, talk about fuel strategy, I still think someone's going to try to make it happen. And honestly, the 27 of Craig Forsyth, he's, to me, one of the better fuel savers in the league. I'll say one of his partners in crime on the fuel savings game would be Eric Schaus, but not seeing Eric. But actually, here they come. They're going to be pitting coming to 24, so they're about a lap short of trying to make that strategy work to get to that 25 mark. But so here comes Craig, Jim, and AJ. Matt, Craig, and Jim. Apologies. I was watching some other names there. So once the cycle completes here, we're going to have about 5 cars up front here with Andrew Wood, Alec Coates, Jari Brupacher, Nick DeGroot, and AJ Hobson with about a 2.5 second lead over Eric Peterson. Question's going to be next will be, where does Matt Wagner come out in relation to these guys, because he's just rolling out of pit lane now. But you're going to see in the background, here come the leaders there, a big pack of them, and I don't think he's going to be able to build that speed up quick enough, as, there goes Alec already on by.
Definitely gonna get quite a bit ways ahead of them, unfortunately, for Craig and those guys. But definitely gives them options. They definitely have more room to play with their strategy because they did pit 3 laps later than the what would be the 4-stop mark. So gives them a little bit of options to go long or to short pit a couple times here, and maybe that's their intention to go 19 laps for the rest of the way. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Definitely a big advantage for the 49 and Jari Brupacher, now sitting, I believe, well, it'll be third when it all cycles through. That was obviously he pit lap 18 or 19 really
18,
early.
yeah.
18, yeah, really early. But definitely a huge advantage because even though he was out there pretty much by himself, he was able to get a chance to leapfrog a bunch of cars and grab some track position, which is huge.
Yeah, so right now, like I said, top 5 breakaway here. But you're right, though, Jari kind of making the most of that. He's now up 5 positions from his 8th position starting spot to 3rd. And right now, these guys are definitely starting to move around and trying to find that clean air. Watching Yari, he was kind of running the middle lane. Nick DeGroot was pretty much running the third lane, which is pretty much unused typically at Indy. But I do seem to remember from previous races at Indianapolis, Nick was always able to find just that little bit of extra clean air, just a little higher than the rest of the field to keep that momentum built up. So if there's anybody that can run a little higher than the others, it's probably that 89 of Nick DeGroot. So right now with everything cycling through here, that's say everybody has made at least one pit stop. Unfortunately, a couple off sequence for sure. Oh, it's going to change now though, because we have a caution for Justin Carey in the 42, and he's already had to take a tow to try to, I think, probably try to prevent that yellow. But this is a huge break for this 51 of Jim Brooks, because then he pitted at lap number 6. He was going to be coming in probably the next lap or two in that 51 machine, so this is going to save his race here to keep him on the lead lap, which will also, I believe, allow Joseph DeCiro to get the wave round, get back onto the lead lap as well after this caution. So good break for two of our drivers here, unfortunately, though, at the expense of Justin Carey. So let's go back, though, take a look. And
yeah,
I think,
it looks like a pretty wicked hit.
Yeah, it looks like once again, looks like
and
tied
outside
out of,
walls.
Yeah, tied out of 4 once again. So it looks like in the dirty air of Scott Rankin, if I see once again. So dirty air and turn 4 right now, the trouble spots it looks like. And yeah, like I said, bounces off the wall pretty solidly off of 4. Actually, I think that's off of 4. Actually, this is tunnel, or this is this is between 3 and 4 if I'm not mistaken.
For Justin Carey.
Yeah.
That was actually off of 2.
Oh, you're right. It's 1 and 2, so it makes the initial contact there, and then we'll continue to watch here as he comes out of turn 2. And yeah, the suspension just was not having it, and yeah, you're right. Then just a wicked hit to the inside wall, which then again, I mean, there's nothing he can do. Lock on the brakes or not. That car's not going to respond to anything, and just goes right up across the track there. That's what's going to bring out the yellow. As you can see, there's the field trying to swing on by there. Was quick on the toe, just unfortunately not quick enough for the yellow not to come out. But like I said, give me some very happy drivers about that caution. As a bit of a mixed bag, you see a lot of fakes being thrown on pit road.
Yeah, playing some games here.
Yeah, Yari Brubacher, though, he's going to come in. I think that's the right call for him, being one of the first ones in here. But yeah, like I said, though, big break for the 51 of Jim Brooks, back in the lead lap and now cycled appropriately with everybody. And then Joseph DeCiro here in the 10 should be swinging on around the field here to get his lap back, if I'm not mistaken. So will give us 20 cars to get back onto the lead lap here with this yellow.
Yeah, that was definitely huge for the 51. He was still staying out and managed to be able to, be the first car, well, the last car on the lead lap, actually. So big opportunity for him to be able to pit here without penalty, and definitely still a big deal for I guess Yari Brubacher will probably go a little bit back in the pack, but he'll probably lose a couple spots, but definitely a big advantage for him to pit here as well without losing a lot of track position. So I think still a net gain based on his first initial pitting at lap 18. So it'd be interesting to see here. We've got about, I think we're going to have, 71 laps to go by the time we go back to green. So definitely kind of throws a wrench in the pit strategies, because that's not really, doesn't really line up too well to the 20 lap mark. So who knows, maybe a chance for people to stretch fuel a little bit more, or more than likely still I would believe 3 more stops at least to make.
Yeah, I think this actually could be a very interesting strategy, though. Actually, I'm kind of trying to crunch the numbers, and you're right, though, Boomer. I think we'll restart this race on lap number 30, which will give us 71 to go. As I did some quick math, and it looks like if they can go 24 laps, they could make it on 2 stops. And I think that was the exact number we saw from, I believe it was not Matt Wagner. It was Craig Forsyth, and I believe 1 or 2 other drivers that were able to hit that 24 number, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, it was Craig. I thought it was Craig, Jim, and Matt. Maybe, but yeah, they went 23 laps, so still be stretching it a little bit more than they needed to there, but we'll see.
And we got a few top offers as well. So Jim Herrick's going to lead, Michael Spell, Jim Brooks, and Joseph DeCiro. Definitely no brainer for Joseph DeCiro, because again, he's going to be at the tail end of the lead lap regardless with that wave around. So this is a great opportunity for him to get that little bit of extra fuel. And so yeah, so these guys might need to start thinking about that pit strategy here. So yeah, we'll see here. So we're going to restart this thing, like I said, coming to lap number 30, which will give us 71 to go, which would be on the very outer edge of the fuel window. But with all these leaders here staying out, not topping off, we'll see. I mean, like I said, these guys love to gamble, so we'll see if there's any takers. And one more thing to throw into, not to throw in the wrench, but just a reminder for those watching. These guys, they have a lot of field maps to play with here, Boomer. So you got 1 through 5 is from full rich to full lean, and then they have a map 8, which is a caution map, which really pretty much kills any power in that car, but saves a ton of fuel. So these guys need to make sure that they remember to switch that fuel map back to map number 1 on this restart, because we've had a few races where someone doesn't take out of map 8 and they just drop like a rock on the restart.
Yeah, definitely a ton going on with these sophisticated IndyCar steering wheels. So lots to pay attention to. You definitely want to be making sure you're not forgetting anything by any means, because like you said, definitely could be a big issue, whether you're not changing fuel maps or you are, not saving enough or saving too little. Definitely, and then all the weight jacker settings and all the suspension settings getting tight in and out of traffic and stuff like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it looks like if we got to keep on top of that as we look to see Andrew Wood lead the field back to green.
So say this is where Andrew, he's got control, can go whenever. You can see he is down and away, but in the back they got to be careful for that accordion effect. So right now, so far looking good towards the back half of the field. But this also makes it a little bit tense for those guys on back, because now they got to really kind of build that momentum back up and try to make sure they don't lose too much ground, because as you can see, Boomer, it really spreads the field out right off that initial start here. So we'll see if they can all catch right back up to the leaders, but wasting no time. Alec Coates, Andrew Wood, trying to continue that leapfrog approach, but Nick DeGroot, he's going to try to spoil that top 2 party. He wants to be up in the front of this pack, so let's say a little aggression kick things off here.
Yeah, that was huge. That field is really spread out after a restart there. Maybe some people just asleep at the wheel, who knows, or just didn't time it right. But definitely looking at these leaders to try and start leapfrogging, and love seeing the aggression from Nick DeGroot. He wants to win this championship in about as a big of a statement as he possibly can. So pushing hard.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to share the spotlight tonight. I'd say if he can get both the win and the championship, that's going to be all the better for him. Unfortunately, seeing Joseph DeCiro actually back on pit road. Not sure why in that number 10, and I think unfortunately may have retired from the event in that number 10. So that's going to put us down to 18 cars left, it looks like, in this event. And again, it looks like actually the 51 of Jim Brooks, that car way off the pace here as well. Wondering if maybe there's something that happened between the two of them, because yeah, I mean, Jim is completely off the draft here. So I say, not sure if we missed something there, but right now we do have pretty much the top 17 still in the main draft pack. Unfortunately, at 51 though, completely out of the pack there.
Yeah, he's still running at, I would think, full speed. I mean, he's doing like 210 in the corners, 215 down the backstretch. Yeah, I would think he's not hurt, but yeah, whatever took him out of the draft there might have been a bobble or something, who knows. But interesting to note here, obviously we had Joseph DeCiro disconnecting, retiring for the night. We also had Brad Ringer, very weird, came down pit road, started to take his tires and fuel for his pit stop, and then disappeared and disconnected. So not sure what happened there, but he has retired as well. And obviously our incident that brought out that yellow, Justin Carey, also a retirement. I don't believe he had any more fast repairs, because I believe he had that other incident prior to that big yellow there. So he'll be done for the night as well.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we got, looks like, yeah, like I said, 3 retirements. Unfortunately, I say don't have Benjamin Combs either, so kind of unofficial, I guess you could say, 4 retirements. I have noticed that Michael Spells dropped back, I believe, possibly to pick up that 51 of Jim Brooks, so maybe some teamwork going on between the two of these two to try to help one another out here. But yeah, just watching lap times, obviously it's tough to get a complete accurate comparison, because right now 41.32s for our leaders here. Actually though, with the draft there, Michael Spell last time by, he runs a 40.73, so it looks like the pace is there in the 51. So yeah, I'm not sure what was the cause to lose the draft, but it looks like that 88 and the 51 are going to try to work together to maybe either try to get back to the lead pack, or just try to minimize some damage. But also Jim Herrick is just on the outside edge here of trying to keep that main pack. I think Jim, one of those fuel mileage drivers on that first run, so this is that risk versus reward. Do you want to stay field, but you can't risk losing the draft, because at that point your race probably realistically over, and trying to, even if it does work out to your favor because you just won't be able to save the fuel after that.
Yeah, definitely. Plenty of strategies to try and get through here. For some guys who might be trying to stretch it, like you said, it may be a possibility to stretch the fuel to those 24 lap stints and only do, what was it, two stops for the rest of the race versus doing 3. But it'll be interesting to see what our leaders do here. But I think with that caution and the way and the timing that it flew, definitely going to shake things up, and that makes it more fun to call.
Yeah, so yeah, right now definitely some strategies available, and of course, like I said, if they do the 3-stop strategy, it really opens up when you want to make those pit stops. So one thing I'm noticing here is Matt Wagner, he's having to do a little bit of extra work there. They had fallen off to over about 1.3, 1.4 seconds off of the 49 of Jari Brupacher. We'll hop on board with Matt here, but I've been watching the ticker, and it's been definitely going back the right way. So he's having to hustle that car, and again, burning lots of fuel doing so to have to try to chase down that 49 to get back into the lead pack. But you can see, again, especially through the turns, that clean air is such a difference for Matt there. Gained about 0.2 just through that 3 and 4 section as they head back to start-finish line. Loses a little bit, again, with Jari having a little bit more draft in front of him, but as soon as they hit the turns, that number goes just to the right direction for Matt here. Again, brings it from about 1.1 to 0.9. So looks like he should be okay to catch him, but unfortunately for him, going to be burning a ton of fuel to do so. I still suspect there's gonna be somebody here in this field to say I'm making a prediction. Someone's gonna try to 2-stop this thing if we stay green.
Yeah, if you're back in the pack and don't have much going on for your race so far, why not? Throw a wrench in there. Try to do something fun, do something different. And I mean, worst case, it doesn't work, and net gain of 0. You might as well try something if you're back in the pack or trying to move up a couple spots in the standings. So, but we definitely still see Alex Coates and Andrew Wood out here, kind of leading that battle. Not really a battle. Oh, we got a spinner off a 2. Who is that?
Oh, it's AJ Hopson, yeah, in the 4, and unfortunately does a good job of grabbing gear and going again, keeping it straight because we stay green. What happened? Oh, as I now that car loops around there, so he's trying to just carry too much speed and was going to try to keep that thing going and avoid having to take a tow. But let's go back and see what happened to AJ here.
Yeah. Looks like the same thing as the 42 just got loose and hit that inside wall. It's definitely a popular place to hit tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I may have seen it too. I think got just a little too greedy on the entry here, Boomer, because you can see that yellow line. He's just a little bit below, and I think maybe just nicked the curbing there. And yeah, that car just steps out on the back of him. So unfortunately for AJ, it loops it around. You can see he's got full opposite lock, trying to keep that car pointing in the right direction. But unfortunately, there's just the momentum is too great. By the time he starts to get it righted, there's just no recovering that. And yeah, pretty solid shot to the inside wall there. But unfortunately, does a great job of saving it, which unfortunately puts him and I believe having to take a tow there. And I believe actually Michael Spell some pretty decent damage. So a couple things happening while all that was going on. Let's go back and see what happened here to Michael now as well. So I know he's already up in the wall there when we find this one. So he was working with Jim Burks at the time as well. And it just looks like he got that arrow wash off of turn number 1 as he drills the wall off of between that gap between 1 and 2. And while I'm watching that, I'm also seeing the 40 of Jim Herrick and Charles Teed on pit road. Everything's kicking off while I'm trying to find all these replays here, Boomer. So
lots going on for sure. Yeah, Jim Herrick looks like he made the same mistake. The whole front end of his car is completely gone. Might have got loose or looks like he got loose from the replay I'm seeing. I don't think the broadcast is seeing that, unfortunately, but it looks like he might have gotten loose.
Oh, actually, Jim Herrick was he got caught up with the incident with Charles Teed.
Yep.
And, oh, man, that's a brutal shot for the both of them. And somehow with all of this, and the field's been so spread out that these things have stayed green. Probably where the admin should have thrown a yellow there, because unfortunately it's at the discretion of iRacing. And so I mean, look at the pit road here now. You've got Michael Spells in there, Jim Herrick, Charles Teed. Some serious damaged cars, and what this has done though is this has completely broken apart the field here, Boomer. you've now got the top 4 of Andrew Wood, Alec Coates, Nick DeGroot, Scott Rankin, and then about 2.5 seconds back to in 5th position of Yari Brupacher. They've got pretty much from 5th back to 13th of Thaddeus McMurray. And then again, Jim Brooks, unfortunately, is still off of the draft, about 3.5 seconds back there. So, yeah, again, probably there was definitely an opportunity for the admins to throw yellow. Actually, as I say that, here comes Alec Coates. He's going to pit here. Last pitted at 21, I believe it was, under that yellow. So this is right about on par here. So
Yeah,
he's
22 lap stint for him here. So
yeah, so this is going to be that 3-stop strategy for these guys because there's no way they were going to make that 2-stopper. So I would expect we'll see Nick and Andrew here not too distant future.
yeah, definitely might be some challenges for the 3 pitting by himself here, but we'll see. I would expect almost everyone's going to be coming this lap or next. But also unfortunate to announce both AJ Hopson and Charles Teed after the contact. Yeah, they have both retired for the evening. So lost. I think we lost 5 or 6 now. So we're down to 16 cars still in this battle.
Yeah, it's definitely been a rough go these last couple laps. Basically, this last green flag run, just unfortunate. Kind of this track starting to take no prisoners, if you will. So Alec is back out on track. He was able to keep that car on the lead lap as well, I believe, in the number 3. I'll double check the timing and scoring, but from what I'm seeing, I believe he is. So we'll say right now that 3 is still on the tail end of the lead lap right now, pitting at lap number 42. Well. So we'll see this. I'll say this. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Alec was pitting from the lead there. I'm mixing up Alec Coates with AJ Hopson. So getting my drivers confused at 3 and the 4 cars. But surprisingly though, here, Boomer, these guys are still making fuel numbers here. And oh, now the caution's out. Jack Walls also in an incident out of turn number 4 once again. But this one does indeed bring out the yellow, which we'll see if this is a good thing or a bad thing for the 3, because he was the only one to have hit pit road there of Alec Coates. So let's go back and try to see now what happened to Jack Walls here.
Yeah, I think that gives a good opportunity for the 3 to bounce back, and I'm assuming everyone's going to be pitting here, but who knows? It'll be interesting because we'll probably be just over 50 laps to go, so I don't know if they're going to be able to break this into a 1-stop for the rest of the way. So we'll see, but it'll let you catch up on some of the action from that incident there.
Yeah, and again, I think this was maybe Jack trying to make a pit road entry and just got a little bit too low and kind of got into that the banking difference between the apron and the track. Even though it's a fairly flat track, it still makes a big difference. And then to say, fortunately, unfortunately, say when he slides up the track a little bit, that's what's going to bring out the yellow here. So again, honestly, coulda, as actually a close call for Jim Brooks there as well. But that was definitely a shoulda, coulda for a couple of those incidents under yellow. So yeah, this is gonna shake the field up once again here, and we're going to be, probably just under about 50 or just over 50 to go on this restart. So I think now, though, with that being over that 50 number, I don't suspect we'll see anybody try to stretch that thing to like a 26 lap. So I think from here we now know for sure it's going to be 2-stop strategy. It's just going to be how that second stop is going to be, like how little do you want to put in that car.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see, and we'll have to take note of who does pit here. I would assume most of the leaders, if not most of everyone's going to want to come down.
Everybody's in. I think the question mark is going to be Alec Coates. What does he do? Because he could stay out, take the lead back over because he's still in that 2-stop strategy as well. Or since he took tires, he could just put a splash of fuel in to get current with everybody and maybe still come out with the lead. So I think Alec would be kind of the one who has the options to play with here. But definitely looking like he's staying out in that number 3. As is Michael Spell, because I believe Michael's going to get the wave around here, which I believe is going to put him back to 2 laps down if my numbers are correct.
I think he'll be 1 lap down by the time he gets back around, so he'll be on the.
Oh,
he'll be 1 lap down with Jack Walls.
Yep, you're exactly right. So Michael's going to wave around here. He's going to go to 1 down, and like I said, Jack Walls also 1 lap down. However, that's going to be a tough one for Jack there. This is where if you were him, you're like, come on, man! If that 3 car pitted, I could have waved around and got back on the lead lap right off the bat there. So,
yeah, that's unfortunate to be 1 car away from a free wave around, man. That's unfortunate. He may not have known that the 3 car had already pitted. So, definitely interesting. Obviously, a bit of a different strategy for the 3, but who knows? He may still be able to, with the other drivers not being able to stretch, probably having to pit 2 more times at least. I think he'll have an opportunity here to be on the same cycle as the leaders. Maybe still having to pit a few laps early, but definitely a good opportunity for him, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely got some options to play with here. We'll have to see where he cycles out in all of this, if he's going to have to lift the whole field by or not, which it's looking like yes. But for Alec, though, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about where he is here, because he's on, basically he's at about a 4-lap disadvantage of the leaders. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that big of a difference, because it's not going to change the pit strategy here. It's going to be 2 stops to the end. The only difference is his one of the 2 stops will be just maybe the slightest bit longer, most likely. But it seemed like, I mean, I say he was the one to gamble pit early, and it was definitely working for him. So we'll see. We'll see if he goes with that same strategy again, or do we see some drivers maybe try to either copy him or. Yeah, it'll be interesting, because we have a lot of things that these guys can do. They can either basically run this one out as far as they can, or like I said, run it like a road course. Do they maybe just pit as soon as that window's open for the second stop, and then run the last one out all the way to the end? So it'll be fun to see how these guys want to play this potential final 2 runs here out in this race.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options. I mean, you can split it a bunch of different ways. You could try and do like 15, 15, and 20, or a lot of different ways that you can play with this. But we'll have to watch it for sure, and see where the 3 kind of comes out with the strategy. But interesting to see Nick DeGroot. He made up a little bit of time. It looks like on pit road, was able to get ahead of the 64, or maybe I believe he was behind him entering pit road at least. But he'll be the first car on the same strategy as everyone else as we restart here.
Yep, and you mentioned Jari Bruparker as well. So he's been able to benefit from this. He's jumped back up now to 4th position.
Huge for him to make that initial pit stop early on lap 18 and hold that track position. So could be a race-winning move early in the race, but we will have to wait and see.
Yeah, no. And so plug in the numbers. So if these guys split it evenly, they'll need to each run about 17 to 18 laps, if my math is right, for them to make these about, I think it's going to be, 52 laps on this restart here once they get back going. So based on that, yeah, it's about 17.3. So about 17, 18 laps would be the fuel windows, which really doesn't give as much margin as I would have expected. So we'll see. Honestly, we'll have to see what these guys plan out on this one.
Yeah, it's still definitely an opportunity to do something like 22 laps, and 5 or 6 or whatever it ends up being math-wise. So there's still a little bit of a strategy to be played, but we'll see who chooses to do what.
Yeah, and it just also probably depends on tires, so we'll see, because Alec Coates, he's going to lead the field here back to green. Again, we'll watch for that accordion effect on the start as he drops the gear and he is down and away, and looks pretty solid up front there, so it looks like everybody's going to get away nice and clean. Yari's going to waste no time, though. He's going to try to peek underneath Andrew Wood. Andrew trying to have none of it there. He's going to hang on to that 3rd position here, but now he's going to have to do a little bit of chasing as they get back up to speed here, and we'll see. I believe we'll see Alec and Nick here just again start that leapfrog approach right off the bat and try to build that momentum up.
Another name we haven't seen too far towards the front so far tonight has been Scott Rankin. Looks like he has peaked into the top 5 here. Definitely still trying to make a bid at that championship run, even though obviously Nick DeGroot trying to control as much of this race as possible to lead that championship in demanding fashion. But cool to see Scott Rankin making up some ground, and our other championship battle going on with Craig Forsyth. He is currently back in the 9th position.
Yeah, and then the other big thing too is I was able to talk to Scott a little bit before the race and feeling much better after last week, so that was great news to hear as well. So he had mentioned that, yeah, when he still tried to run that race out, but he was feeling about the worst he had been throughout that sickness. So I'm glad to see he's back and in full health as well. So yeah, I mean, again, so even if there's maybe no championship in store for him tonight, he's going to definitely still try to go for everything he can, because again, I mean, a win at Indy is going to be a big one for all these guys, and as we just crossed the halfway point here. So we've had 50 down, 50 to go, because right now Alec and Nick continue to lead the way here, trying to control the pace. But like you said, though, we haven't talked much about Scott creeping into the picture. Haven't talked a lot about Eric Peterson yet. The other, kind of an Eric Peterson night so far, running towards the mid-pack of the field here, just kind of keeping it calm, cool, and collected. Would not be surprised to see Eric pulling some strategy here towards the end to try to get himself up into the top half of the field as well, trying to go after that win. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out on that number 36. Joseph Morales right behind him as well. So far, so good. A really good race for him. As he is sitting at about 11 spots gained from where he started. And while we were going through that here, also seeing that the 51 of Jim Brooks, he's hit pit road. He's down and away now, and he's already down a lap. So unfortunately, actually, it looks like a long pit stop for the 51 car. Wondering if maybe, oh, actually, Scott Rankin off track hangs on to it. I'm going to go back and see what happened to Scott here, because that something obviously big happened there for that number 51 here. Go back and take a look here to Scott and see what exactly went on there for him.
Oh, wow. He just looks like he just got loose, but the first person of the night to be able to save that car and not destroy it, that was incredible car control from the 156 of Scott Rankin.
Yeah, I mean, he's saving it in the grass here, Boomer. That's some amazing hands and quick reflexes for him. So, yeah, that right now definitely by far the save of the race here. Unfortunately, in the process of that save of the race, he has dropped a fair bit back and is out of the lead pack. He does have maybe a little bit of hope here, because he could probably try to tag on to the 51 and Jim Brooks. Maybe they could try to leapfrog back to those guys up front. But at this point, he's unfortunately lost that main pack, and that little bit of a bobble for him has really separated the field once again right now, with Eric Peterson just being on the edge of that draft window. So I say again, this race is just kind of just little things here making a big impact in this race right now. So we'll be keeping an eye and see how the rest of this thing goes. But right now, we still got 12 on the lead lap. Also, you can mention that Lucky Dog battle right now. It's Jack Walls in the preferred spot to have that position. Then Michael Spell about a second and a half back. And then with that unscheduled pit stop, Jim Brooks about 5 seconds on back. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened to that 51. But yeah, definitely a long pit stop. It was a 17-second pit stop, which usually means damage repairs. So I would suspect maybe either front or rear wing damage. So maybe someone got into the back of him and he had to get a rear wing replacement, which is usually adds about a 10 seconds to a pit stop. So just not the night so far for that 51.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate to have to battle back from incidents like that for sure. So long night for those guys, including Jim, that are back one lap down.
So right now, oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so right now we got about 10 drivers still in this lead pack. Gary Corley right now in that 10th spot. And then, yeah, like I said, about another, looks like about 3 seconds back to Thaddeus McMurray. Say same thing, Thaddeus, I'm not sure what happened to him. He's dropped off a little bit from where he's been a good chunk of this race. Then another 6 back to Scott. So, yeah, the field kind of really is broken up a little bit here. And so, like I said, and I think this, honestly, with the field as spread out as this is to me is where you really can open up some strategies here. So, say the first of which would be the kind of the road course strategy for me, Boomer, be, okay, you pit in about 5 laps here at 40 to go, and then you make your final pit stop at 20 to go. Would be the first approach you could take. Of course, then we mentioned the second one being kind of splitting them evenly around 17, 18, or like you said, you run 20 and 20, and then do that little stop at the very, very end. So it's going to be fun to see what approach these guys think is going to be the best here for the last half of this race.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to think that a lot of the leaders are either going to try and pit together, because I believe you said the 89 and the 64 are teammates. I apologize, still getting to know the teams, but try and pit as much as you can with teammates, or try and be pretty close to whoever pits first. So we'll definitely be watching that. Still got about a 3-car breakaway here at the front of the field with Alex Coates and Nick DeGroot working on the leapfrog mentality, and the 64 just kind of waiting and saving that fuel right there with Yari Brupacher and Eric Peterson also in the top 5.
Yeah, so it looks like Yari's gotten around Eric there. And then Craig Forsyth, he's starting to creep back into the picture as well. He's now up 11 spots into 6th position here. So say Craig, I think same thing, just kind of been probably taking it a little bit easy, just kind of biding his time. And so he's now starting to get himself in a good position here. And then a few others that I'm a little surprised to see dropping back like they have is the 6 of Matt Wagner. He's fallen back to about 8th position, about a second back off of Jeff Heisong. Just wondering if, again, maybe some pit strategy or something along those lines for these guys. But Right now, though, yeah, up front leaders just continuing to do what they've been doing and making some pretty big laps. Just doing this again, just that leapfrog. I'd say it's pretty. But at the beginning of the race, it was Nick and Andrew. Now it's Nick and Alec kind of sharing the workload here. So yeah, I'm gonna be very intrigued to see. Like I said, the pit window is gonna have a lot of potentials because if they go as far as they can, we would see Alec pitting at around lap 62. Based on him pitting at lap 42, and then Nick and Andrew could go to about lap 66. So for Alec here, I feel like his hand's going to be a little bit forced. I think he's going to have to do that 40 to go, then 20 to go strategy with these other guys having maybe about 5 or so laps to play with over him.
Yeah, definitely. He's been out here for, I believe, 18 laps now, so he's going to definitely be needing to come in within the next 4 or 5 laps or so. So we'll wait for him to hit pit road, and we'll see if the leaders follow him or if they stay out and try to run their own strategy. But he's definitely still the only one that's really on his own strategy, unfortunately. Well, maybe not unfortunately. We'll see how it plays out for him. But definitely huge for Alec Coates, Nick DeGroot, and Andrew Wood. These guys have really controlled this race just about the whole way. And obviously, Jari Brupacher has done pretty great as well, being up in the top 5 ever since he made that big move at lap 18 to pit early. So definitely not a lot changing in the top 4 for most of the night here. So definitely been really a 3-car race. Looks like Andrew Wood tries to get in on the leapfrog action, but the number 3 closes the door on him.
Yeah, so that's probably Andrew knowing that pit stop probably coming soon for that 3, so he wants to get himself kind of in that position to be ready for it. But yeah, you're right though. It's been pretty much these same guys up at the front for the most part of this race. Say Alex starting in 3rd, Nick on pole, Andrew in 2nd. So I mean, the top 3 in the race or top 3 in qualifying, it's pretty much been that way for the most part. So like I said, not a lot of track position changes. You are getting 4 spots from 8th to 4th, and of course Craig with the big gain so far. But here's the strategy. Here's our first taker, though. It's going to be Joseph Morales in the 60. He's going to hit pit road here at 39 to go. So he's going to be the first of our leaders to make that scheduled pit stop here. Of course, we'll have one more pit stop before he can get to the end of this race. So we'll see where Joseph comes out in relation to all this. But yeah, I think, as I say, 3 wide here, looking in 3. Nope, he's going to back out of it. But yeah, these guys are definitely trying to put themselves in the right spot for those pit stops.
Yeah, definitely a bit of the road course mentality that you were saying, pit as soon as the window is open, so he's going to do that twice here, 20 laps for the rest of this race.
Yeah, Matt Wagner as well. He's just hopped into pit road in that 6.0. Looks a little hot on entry. I'm a little nervous about that, Boomer. Hopefully he's able to get that car woed down enough to kind of meet that minimum speed or maximum speed, I guess you can say, because the way it works in racing is you have to basically be in between in those lines. You have to be at a certain pit speed, so you can sometimes get away with it if you can slow down enough before the next segment. So we'll be keeping an eye on that pit stop time for that 6 car.
Yeah, definitely. You want to be as close to that speed as possible. I know for a fact that you can usually stretch it maybe up to 5 miles an hour as you cross the line, but you need to be slowing down as you're doing it. So, yeah, looks like he might be serving a penalty.
Yeah, looks like a stop and hold for Matt Wagner. Alec Coates, he's hit pit road, as is Jari Brupacher and Craig Forsyth. So that's 3 drivers coming in this time around, which is coming to lap 64. And again, let's say now Andrew and Nick DeGroot are going to go a little further. So this is going to be interesting to see where does everybody else cycle out in relation to one another. Alec Coates, a great pit stop though, Burmer, about 8. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. He's still hitting his pit box now. I was jumping the gun on his pit stop time. So yeah, so we'll see how everybody cycles around right now and then see how they all cycle out with one another. Again, Joseph Morales, he's the first to hit pit road. So we'll see how that 60 cycles through as well. But so far, it looks like Alec Coates, he's going to win that battle off of pit road over Craig Forsyth and Jari Brupacher. Matt Wagner behind, but unfortunately has dropped a lap due to that pit penalty.
Yeah, and I definitely love that call there for the 3, the 6, the 27, and was it Jari in the 49? That, who knows, could be a good strategy to be on with a group of 4 people to continue to push and make good lap times in the draft for the tow. Definitely something different. Obviously, the 27 of Craig Forsyth is still looking to figure out a way to win this championship. Obviously, quite out of reach with the 89 being able to lead so many laps, get the bonus points for the pole and everything else. So he's definitely at a huge disadvantage here with how well the 89 is performing. But you got to try something different, and I really applaud that strategy to really change it up. And obviously Yari also documented not afraid to be one of the ones who stops early. So cool to see them try something different and be able to see that play out with that pack together.
Yeah, so say what I suspect we'll see here then is Nick, Andrew, Eric, and Jeff going to kind of go that opposite route here, where they run this stint as far as they possibly can, and then they be able to pit basically. Actually, as I said, here comes Andrew Wood. He's going to try to undercut Nick DeGroot, it looks like, in that 64. So he's going to hit pit road here, and that's going to continue to be Nick leading, but that's going to move now Eric Peterson up into second, move Jeff Heisong to that third position, and then Gary Corley fourth. And Thaddeus McMurray, our fifth position right now. Those drivers have yet to pit, as well as Scott Rankin. But again, Scott, unfortunately, having that huge save. Hung onto the car, though. But he's just, I think, trying to run this thing out as far as he can. Just hope for that timely yellow in that number 156 as well.
Yeah, we'll see how this shakes out. But unfortunate that the 64 had to come by himself. It looks like this pack of the 6 to 27, the 49, and I can't remember who else is in there, but that pack of 4, they might leapfrog the 64 here as they come off a pit road, and it looks like they might merge with the 64 here.
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah, they're all together.
Yeah, and you see that you saw the respect there too for Andrew Wood. He just went to the top knowing they had so much more momentum. He didn't want to kind of box that whole field up, so.
Definitely able to get in front and stay ahead of that. But just to jump back to the front stretch, it looks like we've got the 89 and the 18 on pit road right now.
Yep, Scott Rankin also has just hit pit road. So right now it's Eric Peterson that's been able to go a little further than these guys. And so I like this opportunity, though, for Eric, because if you look at this, we got 33 to go. At this rate here, now 32 to go. His final pit stop, if he can go that 20-plus laps or so, he's only going to need to put about 12 laps of fuel for his final pit stop. So that could put him in the splash territory versus taking tires, and we've seen before. Again, I mean, pit stops are quick here with about 8-9 seconds or so, but if Eric here, if he can get a good pit stop and cycle back out with the front pack, he could still save even more fuel. And I mean, that he could have about a 4, maybe even a 5-second pit stop, and maybe has a chance to leapfrog all those guys. Of course, it's going to be a gamble having to do the fuel only stop, but we'll see, because here he comes. He's going to dive onto pit road. And that is going to complete our pit cycle of deep entry there. Looks like I think he was able to get in pretty safe there, but it was definitely giving it everything he had. And do need to mention the pit stop exits. It looks like Nick DeGroot's been able to cycle out in front of everybody, so a great entry exit for him. So now we're going to keep an eye on Eric Peterson, see how his pit stop goes here.
Yeah, interesting. So we've got, like you said, the Matt Wagner in the 6 there was able to jump in front of that 4-car pack as they were leaving the pits, and the 89 car actually able to come out ahead of them, whereas 64 car kind of had to merge in between that group. But now we see the 89 up at the front of the field leapfrogging with the 6 car, which is a lap car. So definitely I would feel a little bit safer for Nick DeGroot knowing that you have a little bit of a buffer to be that guy that's playing the leapfrog game at the front of the pack with a car that you're not actually racing with.
Here comes Eric Peterson. He's going to tag on right at the very back of this pack. I think this is going to be, honestly, I think this is mission accomplished for Eric Peterson. Because there goes Jeff Heisong. That's going to drop Eric to 7th. However, in this lead pack still. So right now you've got the whole lead pack within about 3 seconds of each other here, Boomer. So Nick leading there. Eric now back into 7th. But again, he pitted there with, what, 30, 31 to go was when he pitted. Again, these guys can go about roughly 20 on fuel. So, I mean, if Eric just goes full fuel save here, he might not even be 11 laps of fuel. He might need to go, let's say, maybe put 7-8 laps of fuel, and depending on how much fuel he can save in that 36 car. So, if I'm Eric here, I stretch this fuel mileage as long as you can and try to work some magic. So, but right now, like you said, though, Matt Wagner, he's kind of just leading the field here, which is great for him, because actually here it is, yellow is out, and I think it's the 51 of Jim Brooks. Yeah, he is around. I think I saw that happening as the leaders are swinging by him, and that is a huge break for Matt Wagner, because again, he was in front of the leaders, doesn't have to worry about the wave round. He can get his own free pass there. But unfortunately, that looks like will be race over for Jim Brooks. So let's go back and check what happens at 51 here to bring out this yellow.
Looks like he may have even made a little. Yeah, he definitely made a little bit of contact, unfortunately, with the 64 car. I thought at first that he just kind of might have gotten tight in the aero wash, but definitely making some contact to send him up into the wall. But it looks like he may be done for the night because I don't think he's already used his fast repair. So
Yeah, I believe the fast pair was already taken. I think really early in the race, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, watching here as they go through turns 3 here, and then trying to keep an eye on the 64 you mentioned of Andrew Wood, and saying the problem for Andrew is he's got a lot of aero wash to his side, but actually it kind of looks like the 51 comes down a little early there. Say obviously not our room to make judgment there, but it looks like just the contact between the 51 64. Probably the 51 just trying to get that arc into the turn, and just Andrew wasn't there at that point. So the big question mark on that, though, for me, Boomer, is going to be the 64 of Andrew Wood. How is that car? Is he able to get through unscathed or not? And pit stop wise, though, this is interesting because there are a lot of options here. As Yari was thinking about it, he stays out. I think it's a no-brainer, though, for some of these guys a little further back. They're all going to hit pit road. Joseph Morales is going to lead them in. Scott Rankin, Matt Wagner. Actually, also need to mention Scott Rankin, a huge break for him as well. Remember, was out of the draft there with his big save that he had to make. So he's able to get back onto the lead, or stay on the lead lap, and now be back up with the field. And I believe Jack Walls here, Boomer, going to get back onto the lead lap as well, because I believe the last time around he was 2 down, got 1 back on the previous one. Now he's right back into it.
Yeah, that was a huge break for Matt Wagner and also Jack Walls, because Matt Wagner looked like he was ahead of the 89 when the caution flew, so that gives him keeps him on the lead lap, and then gives the lucky dog to Jack Walls as well. So definitely fortunate for both of those guys, and definitely a big deal for Matt to overcome that big 40-second penalty and be back in this race. So definitely great for him and for the 83 at Jack Walls to be back in it and in contention again.
So what this does is, I think I must admit, though, I'm a little surprised that Eric Peterson doesn't pit there to just get that little bit of extra fuel in the 36 machine, but maybe thinking track position just too important here, because he does have a little bit of, say, if you go back to the guys that pitted, he's got Gary Corley and Thaddeus McMurray in between himself and Joseph Morales, who's the first driver that hit pit road there, and of course Scott Rankin, but I think my strategy here is I'm kind of peeking in on Discord channels and teammates and things of that nature. So I see Matt Wagner, Scott Rankin, they're both sharing a Discord with one another. And so they both hit it under this yellow here, Boomer. I want to say if I'm those two, as soon as that window's open, again, maybe 19, 20 to go, you pit road, fuel only, and then you just leapfrog like there's no tomorrow and try to build those fast laps and gap those guys in front of you before they hit pit road. As you can see, a few drivers here are going to take a little bit more time, top off just a little bit more fuel here. Again, Joseph Morales, Scott Rankin. We'll see if Matt Wagner comes in or not as well, because he's still cycling around the field. But so basically the top 9 did not pit under this yellow, and then from 10th to 13th we'll all have hit pit road. And yeah, Matt Wagner is going to come back in. So we're going to restart this thing, Boomer, with 26 to go. And again, we talked about a 20 or so lap fuel window. Man, some stretched it to 23. Who knows? We'll be I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people that just topped off here maybe try to stretch it the whole way. Now, that's definitely going to be a big ask, I would think. But I don't think it's impossible. And with everyone else needing to pit at least one more time, you know that they're going to catch themselves at least a lap down. So probably, over 40 seconds on the track. So if you can manage to not give up 40 seconds or more during, this last stint here by, your fuel saving, you might be able to steal one here. So it'll be interesting to see. These cautions have not come at an opportune time at all for pit strategy, and I tell you what, I'm absolutely loving it. It makes it so much more fun to follow. Yeah, no, the pit strategy is going to be wild. And I think my thought here is, if I'm looking at drivers that are working together, if I'm the 156 and the 6, I don't worry about fuel saving. I pit early as soon as you're in that window, and like I said, you just work with your teammate and hope that you can settle it between the two of you. Because I mean, we've seen the pace that you're able to gain with that leapfrogging approach. So, and it also will force your competition to try to do the same. So we'll see though. It's going to be Nick DeGroot leading the field here back to green, as we're going to have 26 to go at the line as Nick is down and away. And so far, so good. And here comes that snake, though. It's getting time. Everybody's going to start breaking that draft, and you're going to start to see a lot of snaking down the front and back stretches.
Yeah, definitely. This is just about time to let it all hang out and go. Obviously, once you make your final pit stop, for those who haven't yet, for those who may have already pitted it for their last stop, but you're definitely going to want to be starting to turn that switch on and not giving up much, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the next question, of course, is going to be the fuel window. Does anybody consider doing fuel only versus tires? Will tires make enough of a difference? I'll say again, we talked about the difference right now. Alec Coates, he's about 10 laps deficit on fuel and tires than the Matt Wagner, Scott Rankin, and company. So clean air obviously kind of cures all if you get the opportunity to, and I think that's what you're seeing him and Nick DeGroot continue to do. But I'm going to be watching very closely once we get to about that 20 to go mark. I want to see who's going to be the first to hit pit road and try to force these other drivers' hands.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think, like you're kind of mentioning, that I don't think that tires are really going to be as critical as being able to maybe pit with a teammate and keep that draft going. So I definitely think that's going to be more critical for especially those people that you believe might be topping off for just a little bit of fuel here at the end of the race. So, but as always, we'll keep an eye on it and excited to see how it plays out. But for now, we're back to the same old. We've got Alec Coates and Nick DeGroot leapfrogging, and Matt Wagner just sitting there and waiting. So they've definitely, I know I've already said it before, but I mean, absolutely controlled this race for 76 laps now, working on lap 77. I mean, it's been really impressive to see these guys just constantly up front. So definitely a huge thing for them. And as we see now, we actually have the 27 of Craig Forsyth finally showing his face in the top 5 here. So definitely, as we've been kind of touching on throughout the whole broadcast, there's definitely still a championship battle here to go. So cool to see Craig up here and contending for the win. Could still be a strategy play for him to beat the 89. But as we've said before, 89 definitely looking solid at the front of this field, trying to win this race and win the championship.
Yeah, so I'm looking at those drivers that pitted, and right now it's Joseph Morales leading these guys, but the thing is they've dropped off about 1.6 seconds, so I think it's about what you said, Boomer. These guys are thinking, hey, if we can basically just manage the 40-second difference in what we had to those guys, we can make this happen, because right now nobody's trying to pass Joseph here to try to gain track position. Like I said, I thought, to me, my personal strategy would have been for the 6 and the 156 to just basically leapfrog, get as far up as they can, pit in about 2 laps, and then just basically run every lap as if it's a qualifying lap with the leapfrog, of course, attached to it. So it looks like we're going to have about, the 60, the 6, the 83, and the 156. I think they're going for the fuel mileage here to try to make it to the end. Unfortunately for the 60, he's kind of the guinea pig for those guys, just letting him be the one to break the draft and kind of use all his fuel, unfortunately. So not what the 60 is looking for. So we'll see. But I'm also going to be watching lap times because you can't lose too much time with these guys to make this work.
It does actually look like the 88.
Michael Spell
is ahead of them. So maybe fortunate for them that they can actually use that lap car to hopefully run that pack and do that. So who knows? Definitely, obviously, Joseph being the guinea pig, being the lead of that group that's still racing for position there. But who knows? Could be a good opportunity for all of them to try and save fuel with Michael. But definitely going to be easier to do this with friends. Hopefully, you have a few teammates still left in the race. Obviously, we've had quite a few retirements so far. But hopefully you have a few teammates left in the race, or you can reach out and extend a hand and try and find someone to work with for the last 20 laps here as we cross the stripe, completing lap 80.
Yep, 20 to go here. So this is pit window time. These guys could make it from here to the end. But you're right, Boomer. I mean, at this point, though, we know for sure at this point from 10th on back, they've made their bed. They're going for it to the end. Green or not, I'll say they're going to try to run this thing absolutely to the very edge of the fuel window.
I think they can do it too, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's gonna be tight. I'll say. I mean, we talked about those guys. I think we saw them get about 24, if I'm not mistaken, when we talked about it from the opening green of the race. So this will be just a little further. Here comes some of our first takers.
Oh,
it's
yep.
gonna be Andrew Wood, Craig Forsyth, Yari Brewpacker. Oh, big slides. Craig's gonna bring a cone for good measure, but I believe that will get there. It goes. They say he's gonna get that taken care of quickly. So now the next question is, did they all get in cleanly? But actually, surprisingly though, here Jack Wall's also on pit road. He was in that second pack, so we'll see what Jack can do. Actually, surprisingly, also Craig taking tires here. I did not see that. I thought we'd see fuel only from all of these drivers, but so far it looks like tires and fuel for all three. Trying to keep an eye on Andrew Wood, and yeah, that car's up in the air as well. So 4 tires and fuel. And Jack Walls, though, fuel only 3.7 seconds for Jack here. But the problem is he's just not quite close enough. He's not going to be able to catch those guys. So we've got our first takers on pit road. And so far, it looks like those are going to be the only takers as the leaders continue to stay out.
Yeah, so we'll continue to split the strategy. We'll have the 6, the 60, the 156 on a strategy, and the 27, the 49, and the 64 will also be on a separate strategy. So we'll have to see if I still think that what the 60, and the 156 of Matt Wagner, Joseph Morales, and Scott Rankin are doing, trying to save all the way to the end, is still going to be a winning strategy if it can go green all the way. But definitely look to see Craig Forsyth, Yari Brewpacker, and Andrew Wood, see how they cycle out, as looks like the 89 still needs to make his pit stop, and the 3 and the 89 still need to make pit stops leading the field right now.
Yeah, so the next thing we got to talk about is lap time. So right now, Nick DeGroot, 41.13 with Alec Coates, again, doing that leapfrog approach. We'll go back to Matt Wagner and Scott Rankin, 41.30 for Matt Wagner in the 6th. So about 0.2 of a second slower. That's not too bad. You can take that kind of a hit. It's just you don't want to start to get too big of a hit towards the end. But yeah, right now, Michael Spell, he's kind of just being the leader for these guys, working the field numbers. And here comes a few more. Alec Coates, Nick DeGroot. They're going to hustle it on in together, and they're bringing a lot of company there. Big entry by Jeff Heisong. Hopefully got it woe down. Eric Peterson, Thaddeus McMurray, Gary Corley. So that's going to cycle things now over to those 3 that are planning on making it to the end, the 6, the 156, and the 60. So now, again, they know for sure. I think these guys, they know what the leaders did. They know they took tires. Do these guys react, and do they match them, or do they consider a fuel only to try to stay in front? And so far, I'm seeing all these cars popping up in the air, which means tires and fuel going on. And I'm completely honest, I'm a little surprised with this, Boomer, but I think that tells you that tires have definitely been a factor here tonight. These guys not wanting to risk that fuel-only stops.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see. It looks like that other mid-pack that had pit the Yari Brewpacker, Craig Forsyth, and Adam Wood, it looked like they might be able to leapfrog this pack and actually become back into the front and be, I guess, what would be the leaders of the guys who have made a pit stop. But we'll be still looking to see if Matt Wagner, Scott Rankin, and Joseph Morales can save enough fuel to go all the way to the end.
Yeah, and definitely a money stop for Nick DeGroot. He actually jumps out to about a 2-second leader, actually 1.7 seconds, it looks like, over. Oh, as I said, we got a big one off on the wall. Andrew Wood, that's going to bring out the yellow. So this is going to change everything. But yeah, a huge hit for Andrew there. As you can see the field all trying to swing around them there. So what this does is we're going to be, or I said, we're still going to have a restart here. But unfortunately, like I said, those drivers wanting it to stay green to the end, Matt Wagner, Scott Rankin, Joseph Morales, this is the caution they may or may not have wanted, because this will probably put them in their fuel window, but now they'll be at a tire deficit. So we'll see there. But let's go back and take a look one more time at Andrew Wood's incident. But unfortunately, I'll say that's a pretty solid hit for him. And I think, again, turn 4 here, and looks like, again, just the dirty air. You see Craig just about kisses it himself, leading that pack. And then, unfortunately for Andrew, there's just nothing he can do. And then just heavy hit to the inside wall. And then, again, that ricochet sends him back up across the track in front of Eric Peterson. And let's say at that point, iRacing, of course, is going to throw the yellow there. So that's going to put us under yellow here.
Huge hit. Definitely unfortunate. The pretty rare mistake from the 64 car. He'd been running very well all night long. So hopefully he can still. He might have towed. Actually, looks like he did disconnect there. So he'll be done for the evening. Unfortunately, there.
So the bad luck for him though, I believe, is going to be a great opportunity for Michael Spell. As I think he's actually already waved around and is back on. Actually, no, I don't even think he was a lucky dog. I think he just got the lead lap because again, all those guys are drafting off of him.
Yep.
So puts Michael Spell back on the lead lap so he can hit pit road here. But I'm going to be watching these guys, which it looks like Matt Wagner, Scott Rankin, they're going to stay out. Joseph Morales, he decided, you know what, I'm going to just take the tires and fuel here. Again, seems like tires definitely playing a role, so we'll definitely be asking about that after the race tonight. But so strategy-wise, though, top two, they stay out here, Boomer, which kind of, again, at this point, they're going to be in it to win it. And I would suspect, again, these two being teammates, I would predict we'll see a lot of leapfrog action from these two to try to keep that 89, 27 and company just kind of out of this battle for the win.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they're going to have enough caution flags here that they'll definitely be able to stretch their fuel, especially with how much they were stretching it looked like under green. So definitely unfortunate for them. They were hoping to see it go green all the way, and I think they would have walked away with it hand over fist. But now we can see we've got the 6 and the 156 ahead of Nick DeGroot and Craig Forsyth. So we've actually got our 3 championship leaders running second, third, and fourth, with obviously Nick DeGroot with the biggest advantage. So unfortunately, I think for both Scott Rankin and Craig Forsyth, if Nick does still finish up here, they're probably not going to have an opportunity to leapfrog him in points, just from all the bonus points he's made today. But who knows? Anything could happen, and regardless, like we've already touched on, it's still a win at Indy if you can win tonight, and I think that would be huge to end your season, whether you've had a good run in the championship or you haven't.
Yeah, saying what this does as well is it basically gives us 13 drivers basically with a chance to win this race here. We'll restart this one with, looks like, with about 11 to go. Again, no green white checkers here, so that's the other thing these guys are going to have to be watching for, is if we get those late yellows, will or will we not get a restart. So that's going to really ramp up the aggression as well, because if there's a yellow, you know that could be your only chance. So I suspect we'll see Matt and Scott try to work together to kind of settle it out between the two of them. But we've seen a few times, though, that third car likes to try to spoil that party. So we'll see if Nick is able to do so. And again, Nick's going to have about a 10-lap tire advantage on those guys, and actually about a 3-lap advantage on tires over Craig and Yari as well. So right now, Nick definitely sitting in the best spot with tires and fuel. Just not quite the track position he's wanting here, as we're going to get things going again on this one to go.
Yeah, I definitely think you're going to look to see the 6 and the 156 really, really push hard to try and stay up there. But definitely the advantage to be up in the front of the field right now, especially, it is definitely go time. You're pushing that button, and it's time to, or flip that switch, maybe I should say, and you want to be at the front, and you want to be there now. So definitely some urgency, but we'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see another yellow, just with all the chaos that may happen at the end of this race, and definitely as the pressure builds up. But I would definitely rather be the 6 and the 156 right now, especially if they can break away and make that leapfrog happen. But that 89's been strong all night long in the top 3, really the top 2 almost, and we'll have to just wait and see. But regardless, we're going to have 11 laps of action left to go here, and looking to see who can take home the final race of the year.
Yeah, and so the other thing too is everybody's been playing pretty nice to say, like I said, doing that leapfrog and all that. At some point, someone's going to start to get greedy and say, all right, you know what, we're close enough to the end. I'm going to live on that white line the rest of the race here. So we'll see if and when that's going to come into play. Like I said, I do think Matt Wagner and Scott Rankin are going to probably have to try to work together to try to kind of keep the speed up to keep the 89 behind them. Or maybe on this restart at this point, Matt says, you know what, I'm going to be living on this inside line. So we'll have to wait and see, because the pace car is just about to duck on in. That's going to hand things over to the number 6 driver. You see the flagman is ready. And saying it's up to Matt, though. He can go as early or as late as he wants to once that pace car is on pit road, as he is. And so now it's all about that reaction time from second on back, as we are down and away. And great restart. Look, these guys are on top of each other. They were all ready for that restart from that number 6 car as they head back into turn 1. But right now, look at that. Nick DeGroot gets the jump that he wanted and needed over Scott Rankin. And so that's going to put a wrench right away off into the plans of Matt Wagner and Scott Rankin.
Yeah, definitely. The 89 car is a man on a mission at this time, and who knows, might try and play the leapfrog game with a 6 as he looks towards the inside of the lead. We got 5 cars battling in a very, very tight spot. 3 wide as we head into turn 3 with the 27 all the way on the outside wall, able to make it through and single file back out with the 89 in the lead, the 6 in second, and the 27 of Craig Forsyth in third. So Nick DeGroot back at the top of this race.
Yeah, big moment there for that the 156 Scott Rankin, and here we go 3 wide again, looking into 3, and this is the tires I think showing right away here, because you can see Matt and Scott are struggling right now over those top 2, as now it's Nick and Craig here going at it after for the lead. And we talked about who's going to be the first to kind of live on that white line, and right now Nick's not living on the white line, but he's definitely trying to play a little bit of defense here. So he's going to try to make Craig go the long way around, which now makes it very tough for Matt to find any clean air on the front wing of that 6 machine.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they're definitely not going to be trying the leapfrog advantage, and the 89 is definitely going to be sticking towards that defensive line. As you can see, he goes all the way down to the pit wall there just to try and keep that lane. So definitely an advantage of tires. I don't think there's too much of an advantage over Nick DeGroot and Craig now that they've got 3 laps difference, and especially because they're both 8 and 11 laps in on their tires separately. So definitely pretty even. But yeah, you can see Matt Wagner struggling just a little bit, and this 156 of Scott Rankin also dropping back all the way to 5th.
Yeah, and Yari Brubacher power moving that. We talk about the high side sometimes coming into play, and Yari is doing it. He went around the outside of that 6 car again, also I think using those tires to his advantage to now make this a 3-car battle up front. Do need to mention at the line there, Craig was able to sneak by the 89 at the start-finish line, so at the line that would have given the race win to Craig Forsyth. This time around, once again, I mean, it's inches. Here goes Yari. He's going to peek to the middle. He's going to roll out of it, though. But he's going to definitely let those guys know that he is here to play and he is here to win this race. So right now, it looks like it's going to be a 3-horse race. I think, unfortunately, the tires for Matt Wagner and Scott Rankin just aren't hanging in there. Matt's able to hold on to 4th, but here comes Jeff Hysong. He's creeping into the picture in that 18 car. Unfortunately for Scott, he's dropped back now into about the 8th position, so not what he's looking for. But right now, it is definitely a fight up front here as we're going to be at 7 to go at the line.
Yeah, definitely respect the strategy, but unfortunately it just didn't quite pan out for the 6th and 156. But still having an exciting battle to see here. Definitely 2 of the championship front runners in 1st and 2nd right now on the points, and 1st and 2nd on the track, trying to battle it out for this win here. We'll see. Yari Brubacher has definitely shown that he's not afraid to try and force his way up into the top 2 and try and battle for this lead. So he's thinking point leaders be damned. I want to try to win this final race here.
Yeah, exactly right. He's going to have to try to figure out what the move is going to be. As here he goes. He's going to, he thought about peeking under Nick, just wasn't quite there quick enough. You see there, big ball as he had to try to gather it back up. As Yari is definitely finding where he needs to make that right move at the right time. That's opened the door for Jeff Hysong to try to capitalize. So I was saying, and all of this is actually keeping Matt Wagner right in the thick of things as well in that 6 car. So I wouldn't count any of these guys out at this point because they are going at it tooth and nails. We're down now to 6 to go.
Yeah, definitely that 89 slamming the door into 3 and maintaining that white line. So you could definitely see he's definitely going to start being aggressive here, especially as we're working on 6 laps to go with lap 95 of the race. Definitely a name we haven't seen much of tonight is Jeff Hysong, you mentioned there. Up to 4th place, started 10th. Been a quiet night for him, but looking at a top 5 here at Indy for the last race of the year, that's definitely a good run for him. So glad to see him running well up in the top 5.
We got one down on the inside there, Matt Wagner. It looks like he hung on to, we got a wreck in the back though. Scott Rankin involved at 5 to go. The question is going to be A, do we get a restart, and B, who was leading at the time of the yellow?
And they were 3 wide when that yellow came out. That's crazy.
So we'll go back and we'll take a look first to see the incident, unfortunately, involving Scott Rankin. But I think it may have started off with Matt Wagner. I think he had a moment out of turn number 4 here. I think I went back a little too far, but we'll speed things back up here to get a better look at it. But I think Matt may have got really loose off of 4 and saved it, but then I think, again, everybody kind of reacting to it. So we'll watch the 6 car here, and then we'll go back and look a little further. Oh, yeah, well, big loose entering turn number 4 there. And then at that point, he's just in damage control here. And I think what probably happens, it looks like it costs a lot of momentum to Jack Walls. And then from there, it was just, again, everybody's just trying to recover. So you can see Matt there sends it straight down almost into pit entry. And then there's the 83, just a loss of momentum. I mean, you see Scott Rankin trying to look to the outside, keep that momentum built up, and keep some track position. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if Jack was aware he was there or not, but unfortunately, 83 squeezes him up into the wall. Eric Peterson just sneaks by, as is the 37 there. And then Gary Corley somehow gets through as well. But now the next thing we got to look at, though, like he says, that battle at the time of the yellow here. So let's go back and see from our race leaders here. Let's see if I can try to find the timing of the caution when it comes out. And we'll, so I'm going to try to pause it right at the time of yellow. Because like you said, they were going 3 wide as soon as that yellow threw. And that was, I mean, look at Yari. He had the inside line. Still green, still green. There's the yellow right there. So I pause it. And I mean, look at this little boomer. They said they were 3 wide. Yari just needed about 100 more feet, and he was probably in the catbird seat. So
Man, that's
a tough one there for the 49 car. So the question, though, now is we'll jump back live here as Scott Rankin trying to limp that car around here. But here's the question, though. I don't know if there's any drivers lap down or not, so this could be a quick yellow here. We'll see if the lights go off this time or not. I believe we may get a 1 or 2 lap shootout, as it looks like lights stay on. We're at 3 to go. I think we're going to get a 1 lap shootout, if I'm not mistaken here, Boomer.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, there's not 1 to go. So man, that'd be a crazy 1 lap advantage, or 1 lap race to the end. But man, Jari Brupacher definitely expressing some disappointment over the driver's chat. It sounded like they were back there, but he was so close to leading that thing, as you said. And who knows, if it comes down to it, that could have tried to be at least the race winning move, but unfortunately timing just not working out for him. So but obviously I think we've already seen Scott Rankin will probably be definitely out of the championship battle from there, and with Greg Forsyth still looking at second place with the 89 in first. I think this championship's just about wrapped up, but we'll have to see how this last lap, if it does go green, will happen. So waiting to see here as the pace car comes back around. If they turn off the lights, we'll get 1 more lap of green flag racing in, and if we don't, then it's a win for the championship and the final race for Nick Group.
Yeah, and I believe we will, because usually the way iRacing is they do, you got basically 1 lap, and then you get the 1 to go at the tracks 2 miles and larger. So Indy being a 2.5 mile oval, I believe we will get the 1 to go. So what this really does is it basically just, it's a 1 lap kind of almost no holds barred shootout, if you will, because by the time they cross the start finish line, get that white flag, from then on, I mean, they race it out. The iRacing keeps it green to the end, so we'll see. As Nick's going to throw some fakes on pit road there, just to bug the guys a little bit there. Of course, nobody's going to be pitting here, but yeah. So this will be interesting to see up front. But what this is going to do, though, is Nick's going to have to really be on his toes on this restart, because the restart is when the leader is the most vulnerable here. So first, we'll take a look, and let's see. Lights are off, Boomer. So we're going to have a 1 lap shootout here at Indy.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. I think we're going to see quite a bit of a battle, probably 3-4 wide. We'll see into turn number 3 here, and we'll see who can make it stick. Obviously, once you take the white flag, the next flag ends the race. So hopefully they can keep the cars in one piece and straight and not turned around upside down or anything crazy, and try and bring it home back to the line. But I know for sure that there's definitely going to be some aggression heading into turn 3 down the back stretch here. So this is going to be exciting. I can't wait to see this. This is a fun way to end the season, and definitely a big win on the line for everybody here to win tonight at Indy.
Yeah, exactly right. So to say the biggest friend for Nick Group would be somebody about 4th, 5th on back, just getting a little too greedy in the restart. I said we talked about those accordion effects, and so far, knock on wood, they've been good. But somebody's going to try to get a little bit of a head start over the car in front of them, and try to see if they can maybe get a jump on them, getting back to green. So if there's a quick yellow, there is the possibility this thing could go straight back to yellow and finish under caution. But like you said, though, we want to see this thing pan out. And yeah, we saw that last restart, though. It was like Craig and Nick and them. They had to, it was almost as they were listening in on when Matt was going to go, because they just had it on him completely there. So Craig's going to need another amazing restart like that to have a chance here. So So we're going to watch from the back of that 89 as the pace car is about to duck off. Can Nick DeGroot hold on one more lap to finish this title off with a race win here at Indy?
See how they go as he gets a really great jump. It looks like the 89 on the front stretch as he takes the green flag. We'll see if that's enough to keep him ahead of the 27, but you know that him and Craig in the 27 and Yari in the 49 are both going to have a lot of steam as they come down the back stretch, as the 27 and the 49 just about get side by side there. Coming off of 2, they are side by side. So probably the best thing that the 89 wants to see here is them be side by side.
Yeah, he's trying to play the draft to perfection here, trying to keep them fighting each other. Craig has to roll out of it. They're going to try to go 3 wide here through 3. Yari's got the outside. Nick's got the shorter distance on the inside, but they stay side by side through 3 and now 4 for the final time. Can he hold on through the back stretch or through the front stretch here to the finish?
This is amazing. They're going to be 3 wide as they cross the stripe. Who's going to get it? It looks like...
I think Nick DeGroot got it there, but it's in the thousandths of the second. I'm looking on our official results. It's 0-0-0 for our top 3 finishers here. We're going to have to go back. First we're going to do is we're going to go back and take one more look at the line. I'm going to try to pause it at the start-finish line here as well. What a finish, Boomer. What a way to finish up the season. Great hard racing by our top 3 here.
Yeah, wow. I didn't want to comment because I didn't really know because it is that close. Holy cow. What a finish.
So we're slowing things up here, saying what I'll try to do again. I'll be as quick on the draw as I can here to try to time it as soon as they hit the stripe. From where I'm looking, it looks like it's just a nose cone ahead for Nick DeGroot. And I think it's Nick DeGroot over Craig Forsyth over Yari Brupacher. I'm saying we'll try to get to that start-finish line cam as well. And I say it's so close there, you still can't even tell. But, oh my goodness. What we'll do, though, here, Boomer, let's pull up our final results and see if the timing and scoring can tell us. And yeah, it is Nick DeGroot by 0.04 of a second over over Yari Brupacher. Craig Forsyth in 5th, 1/1000th behind the 49 machine. We'll finish 3rd in tonight's race. And then from there on back, say a whopping 1.15 seconds behind of Jeff Hysong, Alec Coates, Eric Peterson, Thaddeus McMurray, Gary Corley, Michael Spell, Matt Wagner are top 10. Joseph Morales and Scott Rankin finished 11th and 12th. And then unfortunately, it's an attrition-filled one here, though, tonight with Jack Walls there in 13th, Andrew Wood, Jim Brooks, Jim Herrick, Charles Teed, A.J. Hobson. And the remainder of our finishers here with Joseph DeCiro, Brad Ringer, Justin Carey, and Benjamin Combs. But that... I don't know how they can cut it that close there, Boomer. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was insane. They all definitely had an opportunity there to make a run. Obviously, the 89 just hanging into that inside line and trying to make the shortest distance around the track work for him. And the 49 and the 27 got their respective runs on the middle and the outside lanes. And wow, what an exciting way to finish this championship battle out and this season for Nick DeGroot. Definitely a dominant performance by him tonight.
Yeah, and there it is at the line. And yeah, I'm looking at the timing, and honestly, I can't tell that it's between Yari and Craig. I can't tell who had it there. From my point of view, it looks like it's actually Craig over Yari for second. But like I said, on our timing and scoring, it's showing Yari ahead of Craig. I'll say Nick's got maybe about a half a nose cone over the top, those two there. And again, this is at 220 probably miles an hour here at the finish line.
Yeah, definitely.
Incredible finish. So we're gonna have to go chat with some drivers here, though. Again, so I'm gonna pull up the results just to make sure I get them in the right order here. And yeah, so sure enough, yeah, it's showing Craig Forsyth as our 3rd place finisher. So we're gonna kick it off with Craig here at the line. I say because on my timing and scoring, it's actually showing Craig as in 2nd position. That's why, like I said, I honestly did not know. So we're gonna kick things off with that number 27. All right, there's Craig. Let's drag him on over here. And Craig, that's probably got to be one of the tightest three wide battles there at the end. But I mean, the strategy all race long. I mean, there were so many opportunities for everybody to kind of go mixed strategy because the timing of the yellows would put it right on the edge of fuel savings, right on the edge of maybe trying to do one less stop, or even just do a different pit strategy. Maybe try to run one pit stop short and then the next two full length. I mean, how are you managing when to make the calls of when to hit pit road? Were you trying to just base on the guys around you, or did you have any plans with yourself or teammates or anything like that?
Well, because I spun on qualifying, I didn't plan on starting at the back. That's for sure. But no, I mean at that point I committed myself to do the fuel save. I knew it was potentially possible to fuel save to the end after about, I think it was lap 10. I knew I was going to be probably one lap short unless I saved like a madman. At which point I knew I needed a caution to fall at the right time. And then I think we got caution. Every one of the cautions just kept happening just outside of a good fuel save window. So that was when I think it was about halfway through at lap 80 or so where I turned up the wick and just it was time to start climbing up to the front because no fuel save strategy was gonna help me at that point.
Yeah, definitely tough. We were noting on the broadcast here that just seemed like every single yellow that flew was just terrible for pit stop strategy. So made it fun for us to watch. I'm sure maybe a little bit stressful for you guys. But I guess tell us there, you were definitely kind of battling your way through the back of the pack as you work with the different fuel strategies, but you were able to avoid a lot of calamity here tonight. We had almost half of the field almost seems like they retired at some point due to accidents. So I guess definitely take us through. Were you nervous at any point during the race, watching all these cars drop off, being in the back of the pack, or were you glad to be able to keep it clean and not get caught up in anything tonight?
It was a hard setup. I mean, the setup was fast when it was hooked up, but it didn't like dirty air. It got loose as it got lighter. Kudos to the guys that made it. I mean, it was easy to get loose. I mean, I had a couple loose moments. Usually I like driving it right down below the white line in 3-4. And you can't do that with this setup. It's you're rolling the dice every time you do it, which is how I died in qualifying. But no, it was with initially on the fuel save, I was just trying to make a pass when a pass was available, but not trying to push it because I didn't want being that far back. I didn't want to get caught up in anything. And then the cautions just kept happening not around me, which was nice for the night because everything kept working out.
Yeah, and you're right. I said that white line was definitely a treacherous one for a lot of guys this evening. It seemed like and saying, of course, like I said, the tightness and the dirty air. I mean, how much were you having to adjust the car for clean air versus dirty air? I mean, how quick did you have to be on those adjustments? Because I mean, tracks like these, it's from one turn to the next. I mean, if you got clean air versus dirty air, I mean, I know it's going to drive a lot different, but I mean, was it almost like a wrecking difference if you didn't have it adjusted in time when you go from maybe behind somebody to getting that clean air?
It depended on whether you wanted to push it. I mean, if you were trying to push hard, you needed to make adjustments to the car. But if you were just following someone and it was the difference between you'd gotten clean air and you were following right behind them, throttle control, throttle modulation was really all you needed to just. Because there's no point, pushing the heck out of the car out of 2 or 4 if you don't plan on passing the person, or your intention isn't to try and push the person on that next straight. So it's just safer to because you'll get thanks to the draft, you'll get sucked up behind them no matter what you do.
Yeah, it was a great run. Like I said, gaining 15 spots over the course of tonight. So, say the highest climber, of course, as well. So it was going to be an outside shot for you to try to leapfrog De Groot to get the championship, obviously. And so he made sure that he didn't let any of that go to chance. But, I mean, still overall, I mean, a great season for you. And just competitive week in and week out. Just some of the times the breaks just didn't go your way, obviously. But I'm sure feels good to finish off the season competing and going, like I said, being there thousandths of a second off of the win here tonight as well, to kind of give you something to kind of pump you up for next season after our little break we'll have here between the two seasons. So I mean, Just, yeah, I mean, congrats on the great season, and definitely want to give you the floor. So I know you've got some great sponsorship on the side of there, and I believe if I heard correctly, sponsorship might be changing a little bit over next season. So definitely want to give you the floor here.
Yeah, I got to thank Jim over at lmcgear.com, sponsor for the league. He's now 4D Simware, looking towards sim racing gloves, sim racing shoes, all the stuff you need for your sim racing needs. You guys over at Green White Checker, good broadcast every broadcast, of course. And all the guys, like this is a competitive, hard running field. I say that every time I'm up here. I know that. I say it because it's true. And come join us next season. Every Tuesday, we race hard, and this is a fun league to be in.
Hey, great job, Craig. It was a lot of fun watching that one. So enjoy this one. Enjoy a little bit of a break. But look forward to seeing you back full time next season, man.
You betcha, Gail. Stay safe.
All right, Boomer. That's going to jump us to our second place finisher by 1/1000th over Craig Forsyth. That's going to be the 49 of Yari Brewpacker. So we're going to grab Yari on in over here. And I think what we have to do first, though, Yari, is the timing of that caution there, that last yellow. We saw the incident. Boomer commented that they were 3 wide for the lead. We went back and we looked at it, and it's just one of those, like, you're yelling at the flag man, probably like, man, can you just have waited maybe 100, 200 more feet so I could have jumped around that 89 car? How frustrating was that for you? And then, how do you regroup there for that final restart?
I had tried to get past them for quite some laps, but they were going side by side, and it was very difficult to get past them. And then I finally had that super run down the front stretch, and just as I thought I was gonna pass him, the yellow flag flew. So at first I was worried it wouldn't restart, but I saw we were gonna get a 1-lap dash, and my goal was to maybe attack a little more already on the backstretch, but I got a very good run out of turn 3 and 4, and Nick and Craig were already side by side, and so it was a very close finish. But congrats to Nick for not only winning, but winning the championship. And that's just crazy. 3 cars within 0.004 seconds.
Yeah, that was insane to watch, and definitely glad you guys had that last restart there, chance to battle out for 1 lap. So definitely falling a little bit short, but still a great run for you tonight for sure. I want to take you back. You actually pitted about 2 or 3 laps earlier than anyone else did at the start of this race back on lap 18. And that strategy took you from about, mid-pack in the, back in the top 10 or so, and put you basically in the catbird seat for the rest of the race to be right up there in the top 5, top 4 for the rest of the night. Why'd you make that decision, and how'd you think it was going to play out?
Well, I was looking at the fuel numbers, and I realized if I wasn't going to save massively, I wasn't going to make it on in the 4 stints that you would get with 25 laps each. So I decided to just go full speed out, and the thing is, you don't lose a lap here if you're running with the top guys and then you pit. So the caution flies shortly after you've come to the pits. You should basically be in the lead, and that's what I tried there. I had checked in practice how quickly I could drive by myself, and when I realized we were going about a 10th slower per lap, or maybe 2/10 slower per lap than that, I decided to pit, make an undercut, and without basically risking to go a lap down. So I wanted to do the same thing. I actually wanted to do the same thing with the second pit stop, but the caution flew, I think, right the lap I was going to come in, so it didn't help me there.
Yeah, and that's something. Saying Boomer was what caught that too. Was as soon as you hit that pit stop, we were comments like, okay, they can probably go about 20, maybe 21, and then of course more if you're saving. But yeah, and then you make that move in 18, and like you said, I mean, it worked to perfection, got you right in that lead pack, and then from then on, I mean, you were in a really good spot the rest of the race. So I mean, it was a really impressive race for you. And like I said, I mean, you were working very hard there trying to figure out how to work both Craig and Nick there to try to find a way to sneak by both of them. And yeah, definitely glad you're able to get that one lap restart because I say the caution comes out, you guys are 3 wide, and then you get to the finish line on the restart there, and at the checkered once again, let's say 3 wide again, like I said, 4 thousandths apart between the three of you. So just a great race tonight, Yari, and as well as saying a good season. It's a really good rebound. I feel like too in the second half, you really started coming on a lot stronger in that second half. So is that something that you're hoping to kind of build on and go after it some more for next season here?
Yeah, I had to change my wheel after the first race of the season. I think I had a bit of adjusting to do. Races didn't go as well either in the first part, but I think I've been quite often here up in the booth now in the second half of the season, and I definitely hope I can continue that next season.
Yeah, definitely a strong run as the season went on. So, but definitely want to congratulate you for a solid second place performance tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and before we let you go, though, Yari, is anybody you want to thank or shout out for your runner-up here tonight, or of course for your result here this season?
Just everybody watching, the guys racing, and you guys, and yeah, everybody putting together this championship. It's gone by really quickly. I can't believe it's been the 12 weeks already. But yeah, on to the next one.
Yeah, but I'm saying the same thing. That off season will definitely come by quick, and you guys will be back at it before you know it. So I'll say enjoy the little break, but look forward to seeing you on track again, Yari. But yeah, great job tonight, man.
Thank you. Bye. See you guys.
All right, that is Yari Brupacher. So we gotta finish things off, and like I said, he wasn't gonna want to share the spotlight tonight, Boomer, and saying he was able to do so, getting the win and the championship. And Mr. Photo Finish, Nick, you do it again, and this time you don't share it with just one driver, you share it with 2 guys there. And I mean, 4 thousandths between you and Yari, and another thousandth, I think it was, between Craig there. And so even my timing and scoring, it's actually still showing Craig ahead of Yari, but obviously the official results show the opposite way. I mean, I think the move of the race to me is you kind of pitting the draft with the 2 of them against each other to kind of prevent one from getting the bigger run on you, to make it a little tighter on you. Was that something that you kind of had in plan when you knew you were going to have that final lap restart?
That was an opportunity that I saw arise in the moment. My plan was just try to get a good jump, try to break the draft as best I can without being obnoxious with it, serpentining, and then just kind of hold the bottom and pray. But I saw an opportunity out of 2. I saw how close Yari was to Craig, and I thought if I could get them side by side, I could buy myself some time. But even then, they were coming, and Yari especially, I think I gave him that draft a little bit too long because he was flying coming down the back straightaway, and we were all 3 wide into turn 3. That is not what I wanted. And the 3 and 4, I'm just like, oh man, I'm trying to keep an eye on both of them while I'm trying not to dip the left sides below the white lines so the thing doesn't spin. And there's a lot going on there. And out of 4, when I saw that I kind of kept Craig next to me, I'm like, all right, where's Yari? And I expected him to kind of pull up on the draft and dive to my inside. So I was getting ready to kind of just straddle those 2 lanes so he couldn't dive to my inside. But no, instead he went to the outside, and man, I lost sight of him. I'm like, I'm not going to win. That's all that was going through my head down that front straightaway until we crossed the line. I'm like, oh, we won. So yeah, that was a pretty breathtaking final lap, nail biter of a finish. Man, next time we got to make it 4 wide though. That's the next step now.
Yeah, that was definitely amazing to see, and definitely glad to see you hang on for the win there with all the strategy you had to play on that final restart. So at the beginning of the race, we knew that you had quite a solid points gap back to Craig Forsyth there in second, and we weren't sure entirely what your strategy was going to be at the beginning of the race. But from the onset, it looked like your strategy was go out and dominate this whole thing and try to be up front, get max points, and win in dominating fashion. And you were definitely able to do that. I guess, do you want to talk us through that strategy? Did you ever have any other plans to try and lay back, or was it always go, go, go from the get-go?
Yeah, we came into this race with the pretty much one hand on the championship. I knew we just needed to kind of start the race and make sure we at least got last place points. And from that point onward, I wanted to go. I wanted to win. I didn't want to just cruise, finish fifth, and be like, yay, champion. I wanted to prove that we deserved this championship by winning the finale. And this track especially, I love Indianapolis, but the last 2 seasons here, I finished third and second in this race. So this is one I've been wanting to check off. So it was very nice to be able to get that win. And yeah, the strategy from the get-go, get the pole, try to lead as many laps as possible, and try to win the race. And we did most of those. I think maybe Alec got most laps led. He was up there leading a lot of laps along with Andrew. But yeah, that's exactly how I wanted that race to go. Just be up there battling from green flag to checkered flag.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I say without a doubt. I mean, definitely, like I said, on the finish side, definitely one of the more impressive, more wild finishes that we've had over the course of the seasons here. So you've been a fair share of those photo finishes. I think this is one of the few, probably one of the closest 3 wide finishes we've had with the league as well. But yeah, I mean, just an amazing season overall. And like I said, just you've been trying to for a few seasons to kind of put it all together. And I mean, yes, like I said, I mean, you definitely went after it full tilt here tonight to get the win, and well deserved, well earned win here and the championship, of course. But yeah, honestly, a bit of a loss for words for just the way that race ended and just how you're able to accomplish everything here. So we'll keep it simple, Nick. I know you got some great sponsors on the side of that car, and definitely want to let you give them the time that they deserve there.
Yeah, it was an incredible season, battling with Craig, Scott, and everybody else in this league. They put up one heck of a fight, and there was a point just a few races ago where I had, I think, an internet issue, and Craig took the points lead from me, and I began to think, oh no, here we go again. We're going to have 3 second-place finishes in a row, aren't we? 3 seasons, 3 seconds. But yeah, we're able to fight back, claw back, and take this championship, take this win for Factory Back Motorsport. So thank you to everyone there, all the support they give me, from CoveyMoore.com, Motorsport.com, Blaze Pods, Wegmans, Groot Automotive, U-Haul and Detailing, of course, Cowboy Shit. Fantastic partners as always. And yeah, let's go get them in the Dark Horse Indy 500 now. We got a race win to defend in that one.
Yeah, I'll see if I can make your life difficult over there, but based on what I'm seeing tonight, I'm going to have my work cut out for me tomorrow. But not tomorrow, I'm sorry, Saturday. But yeah, just a great job tonight and all season long, I think. And saying the other thing that probably kind of goes unnoticed is with you being as upfront as you've been all season. I think also one of the cleanest racers as well, looking at the incident point reports, and say over the course of our 12 race season, only 9 incident points for you. I mean, that also just goes to show just how well and how just mistake free you've been all season long. And just also shows that you can really race with these guys as tight as you need to, but with the respect as well. So, I mean, I'd say to me, I mean, obviously championships are always nice, and that's always what you want to go for. But to do so while keeping it as clean as you have, I'm going to say definitely also hats off to you for just putting it all together from results to just the overall just quality of racing that you've been doing.
Yeah, there's other leagues I've won championships in, but I've then bolted because there's not good competition. There's not people you can race with and enjoy to race with every night. And this is a league where you have a lot of great racers, a lot of good competition, and people you can trust, and you can have great battles with. And in the end, fantastic finishes like that, and you can trust them out there. So yeah, that's what keeps me coming back, because it's a great group of guys, some great racing, and glad we were able to put on a show yet again.
Yeah, definitely a great opportunity for you all season, and for you to close it out here is a big deal. So congratulations one last time, and really impressive to see that dominant performance tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, Boomer, that is our race winner and season champion in that 89 of Nick DeGroot. And like I said, it's a great partnership over with Dark Horse Racing. So they'll be going after it tomorrow. And I believe he's already clinched the championship over there as well. So he's just beating up on all of us over here with the Dark Horse and Area 51 groups. But like I said, he's definitely got some races. They say he's going to have that same approach even with that league and say even championship or not, he's going to be going for it all. So and that's what's made him as successful as he's been. But I mean, man, a lot of strategy throughout the course of this race. But then to say once it came down to it, these guys were going after it there at the end tonight.
Yeah, that was impressive to see. I mean, that finish was incredible. Obviously, 3 cars within 4 thousandths of a second is absolutely insane. But yeah, exciting to call. Love to see that the cautions came when it didn't really make sense to pit. So definitely threw a couple loops in there for strategy. I mean, really for the most part, it wasn't too crazy. Obviously, unfortunately, the 6 and the 156 didn't quite work out. Their fuel saving strategy and the old tires at the end just really kind of put them in a hole. But man, that was exciting to see towards the end, and yeah, love seeing that 3-wide battle from Nick, Yari, and Craig.
Yeah, that's just top notch stuff from 3 very, very talented drivers. And like Nick said, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys will try to find a way to make it a 4th driver next time they get the opportunity to. So, Boomer, it's been a pleasure being able to do the pretty much the better portion of the second half of the season with you. Definitely looking forward to getting the next season started as well. For those who may not be aware, say Boomer is going to definitely be a more of a homestead over here with Area 51 and with Green White Checkered TV. So look for him to be the lead broadcaster for some races between Tuesdays and or Thursdays. Still working on all the details, but I really, really love having you aboard. But also, of course, got to mention Steve. I know, Steve, I know you're still not 100% under the weather, but definitely thinking of you and really looking forward. As soon as you're ready, just give me a call and we'll get you back on the track because we love having you in the booth with us as well. So, but yeah, Boomer, it's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to Thursday. Got championship to do over there as well. And then we'll finish the season off over on Sunday night with the Xfinity Series. And also got to do congrats to Maxwell Caldwell, our next gen champion on Monday night. So it's championship week here with Area 51. And like I said, a couple breaks up, but look for some fun races for these guys because we'll be doing some stuff to get the rust off before we get back to next season.
Yeah, definitely excited to be more a part of the GWC TV going forward. It's been a lot of fun calling these Indy races and the races in the truck series, Super Speedway series on Thursday nights. So appreciate being a part of it. Definitely it was great getting a chance to talk to Steve a little bit before the race to hear he's hanging in there and definitely thinking about him. And I know I've got some big shoes to fill there, but definitely appreciative of the opportunity and looking forward to doing a little bit more on Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, like I said, definitely love you, Steve. We're thinking of you and definitely look forward to seeing you back in the booth as soon as you're able to. So, and of course, as always, really got to thank everybody that's partnered with us and supports us. So a big shout out to, of course, Dark Horse Racing League, Area 51 for working with, I say, pretty much the reason why Green White Checkered exists. And then, of course, some of the partners, ESTV, we've been using them a bunch, so really appreciate them. And of course, got to also thank Chummy Motorsports, a big sponsor helping out the season over there as well. And of course, you'll see some sponsors on the timing and scoring as well. So again, it's going to be changing a little bit. We're going to be losing some of our associates that are rebranding, so look to see them with some new colors over there as well. So hope you all enjoyed this season, and we'll be back though soon, so stay tuned. We will for sure. They'll be back on Thursday night for the Super Speedway Truck Series finale. So until then, hope you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, take care, and we'll see you all on Thursday.